to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode number 48.
48.
48. Happy Halloween, everyone. The time is here. The time is now. I'm really excited. These guys, I'm hoping, are as excited as I am. Brandon. Yep, Christian's excited.
Happy Halloween.
Hey, Brandon's dressed as Twilight again.
Nice.
You glittering vampire
he's
piece
right.
of
Look
shit.
at me. Look at how white I'm shockingly Caucasian tonight.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
I look like an AIDS patient.
Yeah.
I look like McConaughey at the end of Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah. The funeral scene.
Yeah.
You're
don't even
so
know.
white. You could be Michael Myers for Halloween. You even got to wear a mask. Who are you? Just walk fucking slow and straight, you know? But yeah, I'm excited. It's Halloween. We're going to have a fun show here. We're going to catch up on 2017 movies because we haven't talked about them in a while. We're going to do a couple lists. It's a 2020 show, as we like to call it. Our next show is the anniversary show, and the show after that is big number 50. So I'm excited as fuck. Man.
I'm equally as excited as fuck.
Nice.
A little less excited than the both of you.
As fuck? Yeah.
Well, sure.
As
Not
fuck.
as fuck. You're as excited as intercourse? Is it?
As intercourse with my uncle.
All right.
Last week it was his dad. This week it's his uncle.
What? I had sex with my dad last week?
One or two episodes ago.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Oh, you haven't listened to it yet. It was one of the bigger laughs that you've ever gotten.
Oh, shit. So you guys, intercourse, fucking, and sex.
Yes.
To me, there are three different things. Remember how I said before, a few shows back, how there's a difference between a penis, a dick, and a cock?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, there's three different ways. Well, there's making love, there's intercourse, there's sex, and there's fucking, as far as I'm concerned. And they all, you go about them a different way.
They were making love while that young boy drowned.
I love it. Making love. I just watched.
What about making whoopee?
Oh yeah, whoopee.
Is that like a step up for making love? I always think that's like you're fucking and you're farting.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever fucking farted while you
farted?
Yeah.
Fuck farted.
Or has she ever done it? Have you ever been banging a girl and she farted?
Yeah. Cunt fart.
Really?
Oh no, from the.
He said, "Yeah." I thought about the way.
Oh, from the front.
Oh, a pussy fart?
Yeah.
Oh wow, a queef. That's okay. Yeah.
The other one's not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, has it happened to you? You tell me if it's okay. I don't know.
I don't think it has actually. It probably has. I never really thought much about it in the past.
I think I would think about it if it happened. I think I would know. If I'm having sex with a girl and she fucking let one rip, I think I would know.
That's my warning sign when getting oral sex. The girl's like, give me a heads up. I just start farting uncontrollably. And that's her cue to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Oh, I wish I could time that because I so would have done that with a few girls.
I wish I was telling the truth, but I'm lying.
It happened once, and it was with a dog.
Yeah. And there was peanut butter involved.
Well, have you ever done it? Have you ever been having sex and farted? Like, as you were thrusting, maybe? Once snuck
I'm
out?
pretty sure it probably has happened.
He's looking to his right and looking up. He's really thinking of a specific moment where he shit himself.
I'd love to come up with a great story, but I don't really have like a great story. I'm just sure it's happened, and it was like probably uneventful because you probably want to fan it out with a pillow or something like that, right?
Yeah, I guess you could. That's a lot of work, man. Well, if she's laying down, then you got to grab the pillow from beneath her head and then start fanning. And that's our sex talk.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Friday the 13th, I got to take a moment here because Friday, October 13th happened not too long ago. And anyone who's listening can hear my voice, obviously. But guess what?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Because Daddy made the call. I told the world on January 1st we would never see a Friday the 13th on Friday, October 13th, or I would retire from podcasting. Well,
We
guess
did.
what?
We did see one. Never hike alone.
Doesn't count.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic.
His mic. That's all. Mute. You're out.
You're right,
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine if that guy did it on purpose. He hates me. I'm gonna put it out there just to shut that cocky asshole up. You know?
No, hey, power to those guys, man. What a great. That was the perfect day to release it because it should have been the real movie. And I give those guys kudos. We'll talk about their film maybe a bit later tonight.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, though I am here, Dave Z lives. The Dave Z Nation can continue on.
What a cocky prick.
I don't brag much, but who else had the balls to say that? Think about it. Come on. Just me.
Definitely not Brandon.
You bragging prick.
Yeah. And I'll go a step further. I should have been more ballsy and said Suspiria is not going to come out that day either. Because if you guys remember, at the time, Suspiria was also, the remake was planned for the 13th of October. And I said, well, we'll probably get Suspiria. We're definitely not getting Friday the 13th. We didn't even get Suspiria. So there you go.
What's going on with that one?
I don't know. It's like, I heard it's done, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Release dates are so weird nowadays. Movies are wrapped and nobody sees them for 2-3 years after. More on that later because Cult of Chucky did the right thing again. You know, at least the Child's Play franchise is smart enough to say, hey, let's just make a movie and put it out on fucking.
Yeah, you know what we need? We need a lesbian Chucky.
Yeah, we do. I have no issue with that. More on that later. Okay. So that's that. What else can we say? We got a couple of emails we can get into quickly before we get into our first 20. And,
you sure you don't want to talk about yourself anymore?
No more.
You fart fucker, you?
Fart fucker. Fart fuckers incorporated.
Oh, he's singing.
What else is new?
I have a feeling that's making it into the movie.
No, I saw the video recently of you singing in the supermarket.
Oh. Well, come on. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
You go in the supermarket and you hear Nightmare on My Street playing. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
It was loud as hell, too.
Yes, I know.
Like, at my supermarket, you can't hear the music that loud.
Well, dude.
Like you were at a fucking rave.
Only in the lobby. As soon as you walk into the place, you can't hear it anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because what happened was I came in and I heard it. I was like, wow, and I recorded it. And then I went in the store for about 2-3 minutes, came back out, and it was playing still, and then I recorded it again. And
security had to escort you out.
Yeah. Sir, no recording in the store.
I was jazzed, man. That's good old October. Too bad it's coming to an end.
Were you DJ jazzed?
That was a Brandon joke, but it sounded a lot better coming from you for some reason. No offense to B. No offense to B, but something about your delivery made it more funny.
Look at his face.
What?
Yeah.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead and continue along the lines. How do we find Will Smith in the snow? Look for the Fresh Prince.
Oh.
I always laugh at your jokes.
It's great because you just proved his point.
Jazzed.
Jazzy to back me up. Emails. Okay. Well, there's one right away that we all have to answer, and I hope Christian said he was having some trouble with it. I hope that you've come up with something. I got
2 answers, so fuck Christian.
Oh, wow. See,
Just
yes. Just give me a second to find it. Okay, from Ian William Crone, gentlemen. Greetings.
Wait. Gave me Crohn's disease? Gave me Ian William Crohn's disease?
Gave me Crohn's disease.
Oh.
Ian William gave me Crohn's disease.
You just broke my glasses. He just body slammed me. Oh,
That's starting to catch on. Everyone's like, where the hell did that come from?
I know, right? I wish I could pull it up right now because I'm starting to become a bigger fan of that one line he says at the end. I imagine he looked at somebody and said, he just body slammed me. Because that's the last thing you hear.
I actually don't want to hear it again because I think the way you do it is funnier. And I have a feeling when I hear it, it's not going to be as funny as the way you do it.
Well, we'll find out next show. I'll play it on the anniversary. Anyway, Ian William Crone. Gentlemen, greetings from Scotland. Huge fan of the show. Found you through your good friends at 22 Shots of Moods and Horror and have been hooked ever since. Thanks, guys.
Fuck those.
You guys are without a doubt the funniest horror podcast on the go, and you never fail to make me laugh or put a smile on my face. All three of you do a great job, and I enjoy listening to hearing your views on horror, past and present, and cracking some of the most inappropriate jokes I've ever heard. Yeah, this show especially. Anyway, enough of sucking your dicks like a cheap, nasty, dirty whore. I have a question. All right, well, that's why we're here. Remakes are a very controversial topic amongst the horror genre, be it The Fog, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Maniac, or The Hills Have Eyes. I'm not a huge fan of remakes, but I can appreciate them when done right. Now, if you could delete one film from the horror genre and remold it into your own version with a leading actor of your choice, what film would you erase from history and create for your enjoyment? I would remake Dario Argento's Tenebrae and cast Gary Oldman as Peter Neal.
What?
Epic. I'd love to see Oldman in the role and just fucking lose it. Anyway, you boys keep up the good work and keep kicking. Oh, it says kicking ads, but I think he means ass. So
And ads, no commercials.
yeah. Fuck those podcast promos, right? We're gonna kick those ads out of here. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, Christian.
Yeah.
We freaking cursed. Listen to what the Dave Z curse continues. Although now it's podcast. We played on episode 47. This is the first time we ever played podcast promos. We played the Laughing Horror Podcast promo.
And they all recently died.
No, Kyle's not dead.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's just what you're getting at, man. I'm like, oh, no.
No. You think I joke? No. No, Kyle didn't die, but the show did. The very next day after that show aired, he said in chat to me and a few of our friends, well, guys, I'm wrapping it up. He's going on to something else.
Oh, my God.
I know. As soon as we aired his promo, he stopped.
You could tell him this. I am deeply sorry, but we will not play his new fucking show promo.
So he went ahead and pulled a cinema attack.
Aha! Yes, he did. Cinema blend. Yes. Wait, did you guys record a promo?
No.
I guess not. Okay, all right.
Did they record a new episode?
They're coming back with their new lineup soon.
Yeah, I know they are. Yeah, I'm looking.
Without me.
The
show was getting too popular. They wanted to take a TGIF 13 approach, try to reach out and reach, 0 listeners.
Oh, that's good. You guys did hit the top 10 one time, didn't you?
We did. First episode, and then we've been totally dropping since.
Yeah. Just reminding you. I know. I knew all the facts and the stats. I just wanted to make sure everybody else did.
Oh, we love you guys. We love Cinema Blend and everyone in the show that listens.
DB.
Yeah, DB. Dub doubles.
He is the biggest DB on the network. Like.
Nice.
Bada boosh! Coliseum boy coming through.
Nice. Joe's Coliseum boy.
Coliseum boy. Awesome. Oh,
DB to DB.
From one DB to another. Who's the third host? It's doubles and who's
and Matt Cantor.
And triples.
Oh, you and your horror movies?
Yeah.
Nice.
Trippy triples.
Trippy triples? Triple R's? Okay.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
God.
Should we answer this question? Well, what about Argento's Tenebrae and Gary Oldman? How do you guys think that would work out?
I love Gary Oldman, so I'm all aboard.
Wasn't Gary Oldman in Dracula?
Yes.
Yeah. Amongst many other things.
I'm picturing Dracula running around. Okay. What else has he done? Because I think that's the only movie I've seen that he's done.
Sid and Nancy.
He was Sid and Nancy. He was Sid?
Yeah, he was Nancy.
I was about to say that.
You fucking Nancy boy. Okay. Oh, that was so old. I forgot about it. Okay.
Hey, he was in The Professional, Leon.
He's been in so many things, man.
Yeah, he's done a million movies.
Like what hasn't he been in?
Okay. Let's explore the mind of Dave Z. Let me tell you if I've seen any other movie that he's been in except for Sid and Nancy and Dracula. Give me a couple others.
A couple? Holy fuck.
Book of Eli.
Who? Meli?
Book of Eli.
Nope, never saw.
Oh my god.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the remake.
I never heard of the original.
Dawn of the
Batman movies.
Yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, RoboCop remake,
Okay, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes I've seen. I'm a fan of the new apes. Okay.
Batman's? Dark
Which
Knight?
one?
Dark Knight Rises? Batman Begins? He was
I
Commissioner
saw
Gordon.
them each once, so yeah. Okay. I've seen a little. Okay. Fair enough. I guess
Are
I'm
you
more
still
familiar.
picturing Dracula? Fucking Hannibal he was in. He played the fucked
What?
up. Well, his face was all fucked up. He plays the guy.
Oh, he played Vincent Murger or whatever the hell his name is?
Yeah,
Mur-
Mason. I think. his name
Mason
is. Yeah.
Berger.
Mason Berger? What I call him? Vincent Murger? What
Yeah.
the
Vincent Berger or something.
Bob's Burgers. Okay.
Air Force One, Immortal Beloved, Leon the Professional. We already said Romeo's Bleeding. That was the one I couldn't remember.
no.
True Romance. You've got to see
Fifth
that.
Element.
Drexel.
Murder in the
Oh.
First. Henry and
Yeah.
June.
JFK. Boom.
Knots Landing. Prick up your ears.
I heard the
Prick up
clickety
your
clackety.
ass.
I heard the clickety clackety on Dice, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
you're over there with the clickety and the clackety.
Oh, we gotta play it on the show. Are you
We do.
serious?
It's hilarious. Yeah.
What the hell are we talking
Yeah,
about?
we're all over the fucking place.
What else is new? It's gonna be that kind of show, and so is the next show. We're just fucking around here. We're having fun for 2 shows. Deal with it, America, and Canada, and everybody. For that
And
matter.
Scotland, you haggis slurping sons of bitches.
And
Yeah.
Scotland.
Yeah, your haggis gave me Crohn's disease.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
You sound like what's his name from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Groundskeeper.
Willie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do. This is my Sean Connery. Sean Connery.
You sound more like Sean Cunningham.
Sean S. Cunningham. Yes.
John S.
I
Cunningham.
love Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Wow,
boy.
Money Penny.
Money Penny?
I don't know.
I have a guy named. There's a guy in my family named Money Penny.
Oh,
That's
Wow.
from Bond.
from Bond.
Miss Moneypenny.
Oh, Scottish Money Penny. Okay.
Hello, Miss Moneypenny. I'll have a margarita.
Somebody answer the question.
Yeah, please. You go, Dave. D. You said you or B. You said you had 2.
Yeah, I had 2 answers, and the question I had asked was, can we pick a remake to get rid of and redo? And so I did 1 remake and 1 non-remake, and I'm just going to do the remake real quick. And I think they should get rid of, well, they should get rid of it anyway, even if it's never redone, but get rid of the Psycho remake, and I would recast it with Michael Shannon, who I've been saying for years would make a great Norman Bates, because he does mental illness very well in the films, and I would have it set in his institution days.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Like just swatting at flies?
Or not swatting.
No,
I
he would
lied.
just be-
I lied.
He would just be,
I lied.
He would just be bouncing off the padded room going, Norman Bates, bitch!
Yeah. Just going up to a microphone like an open mic. Hey, who are you? I'm the mates. I just dropped the mic.
Mic drop. Boom. You guys know who started the mic drop, by the way?
Who started it? It wasn't Chris Rock, was it?
Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy did it he did it in a movie. He did it either in Coming to America or something, but he also did it on either Raw or Delirious. I forgot which
Oh,
one.
that new French movie where they're eating each other?
Yeah. I think you made that joke last time we talked
I
about
think Chris-
I did it the other way.
Okay.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
This guy.
The actor? I don't think I know who the actor was.
Michael Shannon.
Gary
Who's
Oldman.
that? What's he from?
What's he from? He's from Take Shelter.
Nope.
He's from Superman Returns. He played Zod.
That's not Superman Returns, is it?
Whatever.
That's Man of Steel. I haven't seen it. I own it.
Man
I
of
haven't
Steel.
seen it, but I own it. Okay.
He's a great actor. He was in a Leo DiCaprio film. What was that?
The Revenant?
No.
Revenant
He played the bear.
Critters 3?
Michael Shannon's been in a lot. He was in Bug.
Gangs of New York.
He's in Bug.
What's eating Gilbert Grape?
Bug.
He ate a lot of grapes in Gilbert
The
Grape.
Basketball Diaries.
I never watched that. I hate the name of that movie. What's eating Gilbert
Revolution,
Grape?
Revolutionary Road, maybe?
Never heard of it. It's like a
Oh.
porno.
Oh, that dude's great. And he is you just put the picture in my head. He's a great actor.
He's phenomenal. He's
Yeah.
great, and he does mental illness well, and I'm telling you, you just look him up. He's been in a million things. I'm not good on the spot
Blade
when
2.
you ask me.
I'm just having fun here. I know. I just want
Me too.
I think
'Cause I'm
he's in
an
Blade
idiot.
2. I'm not kidding.
Is he?
Razor Blade. What'd you say?
No,
Yeah,
that's
Razor
Norman
Blade
Reed.
2. Fucking skunks.
I'm about to take 2 razor blades to my wrists the way this show's going.
Yeah, it's not Norman Reedus. I fucked up. Yeah, that's
Okay.
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon. Okay. Cool. Well, you want to...
Take Shelter is the film of his that I always tell people check out. It's one of my favorite non-horror films.
Okay.
And I think he would make a great Norma Bates, bitch.
Nice. All right, I will watch it. Well, not that because it doesn't exist, but I will watch Take Shelter in the coming year.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What the hell? Oh, do you want to do your second one now?
I kind of want to save it. I'm very excited for it.
Save it. Okay. I'll do mine. I had no idea what to do. I was driving around thinking for a week. I could not come up with a good answer.
We're driving for a week?
Well, I drive for a living. I'm driving every day. That's when I do all my best thinking, is when I'm driving, you know?
It's a good thing you're not focused on the drive.
I know.
It was bumper to bumper.
Well, there's a lot of construction this time of year, I'll tell you that. So I do have some downtime. But anyway, it occurred to me finally. I was saved. It was like a beam of light came down from the heavens and smacked me right in the freaking forehead. And I was like, whoa, that would be great. Now, I hope you guys are going to feel the same way. But here's my movie. I want to remake Pin, A Plastic Nightmare. And I want Elijah Wood to play the lead.
The Pin?
Not Pin. The guy, what's his name? What is his name in Pin?
Well, technically, he becomes Pin, so he would be playing Pin.
That's true. What the hell is his name? Tommy? What the hell is his name in Pin?
Steven? I think it's Pinball.
Pin and Pinball. Yeah,
he's a wizard.
But hear me out.
The who?
Can you picture him?
Kelly
who?
These are the jokes. We're all over the fucker tonight.
Can you picture that, though?
I can picture it, man.
Mostly because of Maniac.
It was Leon, actually.
Leon, thank you. Wow, Leon's all over the place.
Yeah, Gary Oldman was in Leon. Not this Leon.
Kings of Leon, yes. So, yeah, couldn't you picture him as playing a good Leon?
Yes, I can. I think he also does mental illness very well, as evident by the Maniac remake, and even what was the show? Wilford?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't
see
he
did where the dog came to life and was alive.
Oh,
Dog Whisperer?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Wilford.
I think. Wilford. Something like that.
Brimley?
It was Wilford Brimley came to life.
You know.
I got diabetes.
So anyway, yes,
Lord.
it would be a good movie. You know, I'll go a step further. I want Robert Eggers to direct it. I want it to be an art house freaking Pin, and make it scarier, and make it like where you're really guessing until the end if it's Pin or if it's not. I think there's places we can go with that film. I love the original. Don't get me wrong, but I think my love for it makes me look at it and see.
I would change the lead character's name to Bobby and make him Bobby Pin.
Yeah.
Them's the jokes.
Yeah. Oh, that's better than Safety Pin. All right.
Safety Pin.
I love how you're not even making the movie. He goes, I'm just producing. I got a director.
Yeah. No, that's cool though that you went a little bit more in depth, because for the next one I have not only like the actor, but like I have a whole theme for it.
Of course, I knew you'd do something like that, so I had to bring something to the table too. Christian, do you have an answer? Yes.
I know I do, and I'm ripping it off from what I did before, because I have nothing against the remake. I like the remake, but it's just not what I wanted in a retelling of the story. So I would want to do, and I stole this right from Brandon in the sense of stealing a remake idea, I want to redo Friday the 13th. Because I just feel like it wasn't done properly. I mean, they did a great job in the sense of combining the elements of 2, 3, and 4 into like a souped up update. But ultimately, I want the story of Pamela and Jason. I'm not talking about Halloween-esque Rob Zombie style where they go and tell the whole backstory, because I think that takes, arguably, because some people absolutely love it, but I feel that takes away some of the mystique. But just a retelling of the idea. Scenes that we didn't see. How about the lead up of Jason wandering off while the couple were fucking? And because, it's been retold and changed, and people said that he was bullied into drowning in the water. I feel like he was being watched, maybe because he was special while his mom worked, but the kids were too busy fucking and he kind of left.
Did you know when they were fucking, he farted?
Yeah, he farted? Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Bernadette, was that you, Bernadette? Holy shit.
Oh, shit. Where's Jason?
Yeah.
Oh.
So wait, who's the leading man? You're gonna play Jason? Is that what it's going to?
No. Jason's a kid. No, I want to follow the Christie family. I want to see the fact that like the parents have maybe trying to give up on this camp a little bit over time, and then what ends up happening is Steve Christie's like, no, look, give me a chance. I want to fight. I want to try to bring it back. I think I can make this work. Dad, you got to trust me, type thing. And so it stays with Steve. He reopens it. He's starting to reopen the camp, getting it ready, and then that's of course when we enter the real story, as we did in the original Friday the 13th. But we see a little bit more of this being told through the opening credit sequence, the pre-credit sequence, the opening credits, leading into the story. Steve Christie, I think I said this before, I want Jeremy Allen White to play Steve Christie. He's Lip.
I like him. Yeah,
I really like him.
What's he from?
His big claim to fame is Shameless, the American.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
What character is that?
Lip.
Oh, that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay.
Alice, I want Kieran Shipka.
Oh.
Or Karen, or Karen.
I love her.
Yeah, Shipka.
Kieran.
Yeah, she won me over in The Black Coat's Daughter, and like she's a good age. She's like I think 17, 18 now, and so I think she'd be perfect as Alice. Got that sort of innocent look to her, and I've said it, and I've stuck to this and stuck to my guns. Naomi Watts as Pamela.
As Jason.
As Pamela Voorhees. As Jason.
I can see that. Yeah, and I know you mentioned that before about Naomi Watts, but yeah.
Something about her, I think she could go crazy.
I bet she can. Yeah, man.
Obviously, there'd be more characters as, of course, the body count, but those are the three primary ones that sort of I think are important that you need to be. Jason is part of this story through, I don't want to say flashback. A flashback sounds tropey or cliche, but it's not. It's just the way it's going to be told. And of course, the turning point of my story would be that Jason didn't drown, but the thought of the loss was enough to drive his mom already over the edge, because she was already a little over the edge to begin with, and the fact that she thought she lost him was enough to drive her insane and to vow that the camp would never reopen and that no one would ever harm her family again. So we don't have Jason lost to sea for decades.
He's a fucking pirate.
Yeah, he's not seaworthy.
He joined the Coast Guard. Yeah. Hey, Jason, is the coast clear?
Yeah. Did he get his sea legs?
Yeah. It's a waka waka night tonight. So then,
I'm glad you didn't put in too much thought in this one.
Yeah.
I know, right? The guy's fucking got everybody. And camper number 6 is going to be played by Jeremy Privet. You know what the fuck?
Camper 7. So then 6. Come on, get it right. So we could play around with all that stuff as well. The language, the kids, like that you're talking about with it, and how it used to be like that back, in the Monster Squad, the Goonies and all that. They had a little bit more sass to them. Like, you have scenes with the campers at the beginning as well. But ultimately, it's about Pamela, her story, vicious kills. It's not a whodunit. It's more like from her point of view. We play around with the idea of we already know who did it. Now we get to see her in action. But the plot twist will be that Jason is still very much alive and there to help his mom.
Nice, man.
I like it. And they could put a camera in her eye. Maybe she lost her eye in a cooking accident.
We're not allowing him to do the next one.
Since you said Goonies, let me interrupt, because this has been bugging me for years and years. And I meant to bring it up on an earlier show. And I just happened to be listening to 22 Shots of Moods and Horror today, because the new show came out, Garbage Day, or I don't know why they call whatever. Anyway.
You mean Garbage Show.
Nice. They're not listening. Nice. They're not listening anyway. Fuck them. JP's 10 years back. Moods and Jeremy don't listen to our shit. So let's trash them.
They don't, eh? Fucking pricks.
Every so often. Jeremy doesn't listen to anything, and Moods is, I don't know.
Which is funny because he's unlistenable.
Fucking speak and spell, those two. That's like fucking Jeremy and JP. One can't speak and one can't spell. That's fucking great. Anyway, I love them. But I'm listening today, and at one point they're talking about booby traps.
Booby trap.
Thank you. There you go. That's my question. Everybody, I've never got that joke. For years, I've never understood that joke. Let me lay it out to you. and everybody quotes it. He says something.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. So he says, maybe we should say booby trap. And then the other kid corrects him and says, you mean booby trap. And then he says, that's what I said, booby trap. How is that a fucking joke?
Because it's a horribly offensive Asian accent. And they're just playing on the fact that at the time it was okay to have Corey Feldman tell his the Spanish maid that there was heroin and stuff being hidden in the drawers. And that they keep the marijuana there. And that the cacarocha, and then the cacarocha, and then Data can't say booby trap, and he always says.
But he can. It's clear as a fucking as the nose on my face. If he wasn't saying it right, it would be funny. Right. But he says booby trap, and it's clear as day. He says booby trap, and the other kid says, no, you mean booby trap. Then he said, that's what I said, booby trap. So how is that funny when he pronounced it right the first time? I don't get the fucking joke. And everybody walks around saying it all the time. And since I was a kid.
Cut his own throat.
Yeah.
I don't get the joke. How is that a joke? It's always driven me mad.
Oh, it's funny. I'm going to put it as a soundbite. It's totally just making fun of his Asian accent.
Oh, Dad. Dana, where are you going? I'm setting booby traps. Booby traps. That's what I said, Sam. Setting booby traps in case of anybody's following us. Like if we're taller, so we can hear them coming.
Okay, hurry up.
Good idea. Hey, Dana, where are you going? I'm setting booby traps. You mean booby traps? That's what I said, booby traps. Quiet. Shh. God, these guys.
Dude, I can't understand shit. I used to work in Las Vegas with every fucking nationality around the world, and I have a very, very bad ear for understanding what people are saying, and it's embarrassing for me sometimes. I'm just not very good at it. But when he says booby trap, it sounds like booby trap. He doesn't say booty trap or bobby trap. Then that would be a joke. But he's saying it right. I don't know. I just don't get the fuck. Even when I was a kid, I was like, how was that funny? I don't know.
Well, actually, Data is going to be one of the camp counselors in Friday the 13th. Always comes full circle.
Nice. Yeah, there should be an Asian one. They did have one Asian one in part 2, that small role that he played. And then remember there was a token black and a token Asian, and they went out to the bar, so we never saw him again.
They lived.
They're coming back. Anyway, Brandon, take a turn. Sorry you don't hold it up.
All right, I had a little help with this next one.
Okay.
But I thought it was a brilliant film that needs to be remade. And that film is Chopping Mall.
Oh, yeah, man.
Now, here's what we do.
Robots.
We take out the robots and we put an actual killer in there. So
it becomes a slasher.
It actually becomes a chopping mall.
But you know what we call this one? Killbots.
Kill twats.
Brandon's face is like, he's like, what? I don't get it. Because the first one was called Chopping Mall. It was killer robots. This was an actual killer chopping people up. We're going to call it Killbots.
I love it.
His face.
I'm glad you at least find it funny.
I get the joke. As soon as he said Killbots, I knew the joke because it was supposed
Booby
to be called Killbots.
I thought Booby Trap was funnier.
I don't get Booby Trap, but I get Killbots.
It's the fucking joke of the season. I'm telling you right now.
The season. I love it. Oh, shit.
Sorry, man. Continue. Look at his
Poor Brandon. He's all upset.
I just don't know what the hell's going on.
What a show we're having. All right.
Bots. We got Kane Hodder as the killer.
Oh, that's not cliche. Okay. All right.
We don't need Kane Hodder. Any type of tall, menacing character, but he's going to be a Paul Bunyan type killer because it's going to take place in a mall in one of these states that's very big with Paul Bunyan. You know, they have a big Paul Bunyan statue.
So he's going to come to life?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's just going to be an insane Paul Bunyan wannabe who's running around with an axe chopping up co-eds who have decided to spend the night in Daddy's Mall.
And he's a security guard?
He's a killbot.
That would be the end. He's an android.
The ending reveal is that he's actually an android.
Now that would be okay. Would that be considered a slasher, though? If at the end it was revealed.
No. Well, here's the thing. He's killing and mutilating all these characters with his axe or whatever his tools are. They're all chopping tools.
Did I bring my fucking toolbox? Sorry.
And he's putting the body parts on display in each of the store's windows. So you have a hat store. there's a severed head there wearing one of the hats.
Oh,
You go into the jewelry store, and there's severed fingers wearing the rings in the jewelry box.
Love it.
Oh, nice.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I said, when you go out to the food court, there's the pretzel stand with a human body folded up like a pretzel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I like
That's
it.
awesome. How about
Charlene actually helped me with that, and I thought
I was gonna
like,
say. Oh.
I was like, Charlene, did you just write the greatest slasher of all time? Yes, you did.
Oh boy. Here we go. I was gonna guess Charlene too when you said you had help, isn't it?
What we'll do is we'll
Yeah.
edit this whole segment out, and then we'll just call it Axe to Grind, and we'll just make it ourselves.
There you go. And I'm
So
gonna
that,
go.
I meant so that we don't have to say it's a remake of Chopping Mall and have to pay any royalties.
I Paul Bunyan type killer, and I want to call him the PB killer.
PB, like fucking peanut butter.
No, but then you can go on a spoof title and do PB Loco as the name of the film.
PB Local. Okay, all right. I don't know about the title, but
That was a brand of peanut butter. PB Loco.
what is it in Mexico? Maybe I never heard of that.
Oh, it's like all these peanut butters with like fancy ingredients, like raisins. Those fancy fucking raisins.
Oh boy, you don't get fancier than raisins, I tell you. All right, can there be an adult toy store in that mall, and you could have severed dicks there in place of dildos?
There's got to be a severed dick in there somewhere.
They'll be hanging out of your mouth.
No, I might. All right, I hope we answered your question okay there, Mr. Crone. All right. What's next?
Thank you
got
for
a
the
couple
question.
more. Yes, thank you for your questions, for your support. Okay,
I
now.
like that slasher idea.
Me too. I think it's great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Charlene came up with it.
We all do. It's great. It's a great idea.
Not on the script we're writing. She didn't. created by Brandon Orlick.
No, it's perfect
Written
because this
by-
is one of the films. Because this is one of the films that we've gone back and forth, and we're gonna have a big talk about this when episode 50 comes about what qualifies as a slasher. And technically, Chopping Mall, yes, I mean I see it that it's a slasher. I'm not personally counting it because it lacks the feel of a slasher because there's no physical being, there's no living being, or a boogeyman or something. Like I need something.
I would give.
Was it the Boogeyman?
I'd give Child's Play an edge of being a slasher over Chopping Mall.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
And that's
Child's
another-
Play is one that it's like close, and he even refers to himself as a slasher because JP and I were talking about this. I'm like, yes, I'm not going to argue with somebody saying it's not a slasher. I'm just not counting it because there's so many others that feel more slashery. Same thing with Final Destination. Final Destination is a straight up slasher, but there's no killer.
Wow.
A
Right.
fart in the wind, or a fart, fuck. Fart. Fucking stuttering mumbles
Are you
here.
okay over there?
I think I had a fucking stroke.
I'm not okay, and I'm about to stroke out because this email I have is it puts SC to shame. Boy, it's too much. But I'm gonna do what I can. But this is from our homie Cordell. Cordell is back, guys.
Oh yeah, he's
Mr.
peering through your
Maniac.
window.
You better not be. No, Mr. Maniac Cock himself.
Maniac.
Okay, because this is a response. This is actually, it kind of ties into today because it's a 2020 show. So he wrote in talking about his own top 20s. So check it out.
And it's a 20-page email.
Basically, yes. I might fucking gas out by the time
That's
it's
your
over.
first, basically.
Well, as long as I don't do it during triple R's, it don't count. Okay. Hi, guys. Cordell here, and I've been playing catch-up on the show, so I decided to share my top 20 as you guys had. I do not normally branch outside of slashers, so these may be a lot of franchise film endings. I do like them for what they are. So starting with horror endings. So he's going to give his top 20 horror endings. Number 20, Freddy's Glove and Jason's Mask. Jason Goes to Hell. Not a favorite movie of mine, but this ending was great and got us hyped for the battle between these two legends.
It wasn't even Freddy's laugh. It was a knockoff Freddy laugh.
What the fuck? I know everything about that movie is wrong.
They own the fucking rights to Freddy, and they still good with the fucking real laughing.
What the fuck? I
It was
know
like
it's
someone in
fine.
Foley was like, ah.
You're right.
Sounds funny enough.
Okay.
Sounded more like Pin.
Pin. Okay, number 19. Ash gets sucked into Portal from Evil Dead 2.
Nice.
Kind of like the feel of the ending. Disappointed how they rechanged it for Army of Darkness. Ain't that the fucking truth? God, ever since the
they
first
added
time
one
I saw
little. They added another shot for whatever reason, the side shot of him going through, and they just changed the ending up. Fuck off. It's fine.
No, dude. No, fuck off. It was a great ending in Evil Dead 2 where they were worshiping him and he didn't like it. And then in the second, and then when they go back to it in Army of Darkness, they weren't worshiping him. It was a cheat. It was a cheat. How do you like a cheat? I don't know.
They really jumped the Bruce there.
They sure did.
I think this will be divided. I think there's people that are going to find it to cheat, and there's people that are going to agree with me. I think it's probably 60-40 in my favor.
He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car. The fuck?
They did throw the kitchen sink at him, like we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
I watched it with my daughter a few weeks ago, and I didn't notice the kitchen sink. But I'm still gonna believe you.
Fucking crazy.
Maybe
No, I'm not disagreeing. I just didn't recall seeing it, But whatever. Okay, let's continue. This is fucking. We're gonna be here all night. 18. Halloween Resurrection. Halloween : Resurrectum. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm glad they didn't continue the atrocious story after that movie, but Michael screaming and opening his eyes was a good ending to a fuck-tardacious film.
Cordell's lost his mind.
Yeah, it was kind of a basic ending, him waking up. I mean,
Cordell, you're basic.
you're basic.
That was like the total tropiest cliche ending. Like, I'll even give it to you, Dave, because I'm not a huge H2O fan. That was an ending. The old chopperino of the head off.
Yeah.
Resurrectum's like, my burnt eye opened.
Yeah, they got it from. Didn't Jason do the same thing at the end of Jason Lives? His eye opened.
So many fucking slasher movies have the old Iorino opening.
True. Iorino, right?
Are you
Vinny
adding Reno to
Iorino.
everything?
Vinny Iorino. Remember him from fucking
Vinny Iorino.
Welcome Back, Carter. Right there. Oh my God, Mr. Carter.
What are you, some kind of freak?
The old men are at it talking about their old TV shows.
All right. Okay, number 18. The house light turns on. Nightmare on Elm Street,
3.
Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, maybe not an exact ending, but it lets the viewer know that Freddy's not done with his shit. And it's a better ending than most other Nightmare films end on. I agree. I think it's a good ending.
I like that ending for sure. Better than Mommy getting pulled through the fucking doors.
Ugh. That's for fucking sure.
If they just took that out and just had the car go, part 1 would be the perfect ending. But Mommy gets pulled through the fucking window.
Yeah. I don't hate that ending, though.
How did she fit? How'd she fit? How many takes?
It's a dream. It doesn't have to
She's
make
a blow-up
sense.
doll.
She's Pin?
Yeah.
Everything tonight is coming back to Pin.
Nice. We're just going to review Pin after this. All right. Number 15, Halloween 4. As you guys stated in your show, Halloween got one thing right, and they give us a memorable ending. That's right. Loomis says, no! It's certainly memorable and enjoyable.
Bone-chilling.
It is great. I mean, it's funny, but it's still great. The first time I saw it, it was bone-chilling. Then
it was bone-chilling the first time. Without a doubt. That's probably the one ending of a Halloween film that actually scared me.
Oh, I loved it in the theater.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see it in the theater, but the first time I saw it, I remember being like really freaked out by that ending. But
yeah, it is freaky.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah. Okay. 14, Chainsaw Dance. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is iconic for many things. Leatherface's dance rage is certainly one of them. It's a perfect ending to a film filled with madness and macabre. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Another good one.
Yep. Number 13, Jason Grabs Alice. Certainly one of the best endings, as well as our introduction to the future man behind the mask. The jump scare still works today, and the last chilling line, then he's still there. Yes. Awesome.
Perfect.
Still there.
Yep. Still there. Ah! Okay. Number 12, Axel's Madness. My Bloody Valentine, 1981. Undoubtedly one of the best slashers of the 80s. MBV had classic kills and has more focuses on the drama of horror than your typical slash and gore. While it had sequel potential, had they not revealed the fate of Harry Warden, Axel's rant at the end certainly makes this ending one of the favorites. Be my bloody Valentine? I agree. I think I said that. Right?
I don't remember you having that. Maybe you did.
Yeah, I did. I know I did, because I do love that ending. 11, Halloween 3. I do not like this movie, but I love the ending and the uncertainty of whether Atkins succeeded or not. Stop it! It's great.
Yeah, he sang it. He sang it.
Yeah.
Stop it!
It was a metal rendition. What do you want me to do? Stop it!
That should be a remake. We should do that. Make a song out of it. Put some beats in there.
Stop it.
Oh. Awesome. Okay, I'm halfway done with the first part. Number 10, Halloween 2007. Now, I don't really watch Rob Zombie stuff, nor do I care about remakes, but if there is one I submit to is RZ's Halloween. It was the first slasher I ever saw. Wow. In the end with Laurie blowing Michael away and screaming.
I didn't see that cut.
Was a great conclusion to the carnage. That was a great ending, but Laurie blowing Michael might have been better.
The uncut version. 9, Naughty. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Something about a little kid looking at a nun with the urge to become a Santa killer seems satisfying to me. Yeah, that is a... Did any of us have that one? No.
No, but it is a good ending.
Yeah, that is good. Naughty. Yeah, man. All right, 8, Hoffman's Comeuppance. Oh, Saw 7. I do not like Saw. I've never been able to get into the torture porn of horror. But I will say seeing Hoffman get chained to the floor gave me satisfaction because that guy is a cockknocker.
I'm a fan of all the Saws, and I was a fan of Hoffman finally getting his comeuppance.
Yeah, I could buy that. That damn movie. Okay. 7, Texas Chainsaw 3D. I forgot the end, but let's see. This movie has flaws, but the ending with Leatherface standing in the doorway, then slamming the door shut as the screen shoots to black has always stuck with me. Okay. Do you guys remember that?
I don't remember that.
No. I'm guessing that I've only seen the movie once or twice, but I'm guessing it kind of echoed like when he closed the door the first time in part 1, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, number 6, Tommy's Haze. Friday the 13th, part 4. Oh, I think it's supposed to say gaze. Okay. That gaze at the end from Tommy really lets you know Jason fucked this kid up.
Or it could have been a haze. Maybe he got high before he killed Jason.
Purple haze!
Purple haze all in my brain.
Maybe he's talking about the bar Brandon frequent last night with the gaze.
The Blue Oyster? I gave David an opportunity to sing.
Yep. How about this one? Doom, 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 doom. You know that, right? That's it. That's Tommy's gaze. Okay. Number 5, Halloween 2, 1991. Michael burning is haunting, as it's satisfying because you finally believe it's over. Yeah, it's a good ending. I agree. I'm not so crazy about we made it, but... Right? Don't you wish they could take that out? No, it's just me.
He's fine.
Let me finish Christian's sentence. I don't give a fuck.
No.
Fair enough. You know what? I don't like what's his name. That's my problem. I like Michael. I like Laurie. I don't like fucking what's his name?
Loomis?
Douchebag. No, the guy that survives. What's his name?
Paul Rudd?
With the blonde hair, the fucking curly hair. From Halloween 2, the guy that works at the hospital. What's his name?
Oh,
Axel.
No, Axel. You are the Super Bowl of self-abuse.
Why can't I fucking think of his name? Not Billy.
I want to say Billy too. Isn't that weird?
Here's the reality of it, and I'm sorry. This is why I've been kind of distant. They don't have the kitchen sink in Evil Dead 2. They added in Army of Darkness.
Motherfuckers. Fuck
At
Army
the
of
beginning.
Darkness. Even
No,
worse.
I love it, but it's not even the kitchen sink so much. It's more of a stove, but it just looks like a kitchen sink. It goes over his head. But I don't think it's in Army of Evil Dead because I was just trying to watch it as we were talking here to try to show you guys, and then I realized it was only an Army of Darkness from the looks of it. I'll have to give that a real look when we're off air. But yeah,
Jimmy.
what was his name?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Fucking knew it was going to be.
Jimmy. Yeah, fucking Jimmy. Yeah,
Amazing Grace. Come
No,
sit
he's
on
great.
my
What?
face.
Nice. Okay.
You know, it could have been your brother out there, you know?
You say Drano.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh my Lord, this show.
My Lord.
Brutes. Fucking brutes.
Brutes is right. Number 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. If you guys are reading, you'd be rushing too. Fuck. While not as good as the original's ending, there's something amusing about Stretch Wiggle, her ass, trying to fling that chainsaw. Yeah.
I have to be in the mood for it.
What? Stretch wiggling her ass while trying to fling
just
the chainsaw?
TCM 2. I have a love, couldn't care less about relationship. I won't say hate, but I either love it and I want to watch it, or I just could care less and never want to watch it.
Well,
Number 3, The Phantom
fucking
Works.
list.
I know. Town That Dreaded Sundown, 1976. Based on the real Texarkana killings, this movie is one of the best semi-slashers before the 80s. Relatively bloodless for the most part, its ending conveys the haunt of the Texas Arkansas town. The Phantom could be anywhere. I've never watched the original, so I can't even comment on it.
Town That Dreaded?
Yeah.
Admittedly, I was going to say for the slasher show, but I'll say a little bit of it. I had a love-hate relationship with that movie in the sense of I don't like how a lot of it's presented. There's a lot of bad attempts at comedic moments.
Yeah,
and it's got a really bad made-for-TV feel to it. Some scenes drag on a little bit. They speed up the car chases. But the stalking scenes are rather creepy. And the ending is very, very good.
Stockings?
Yeah. They're hung by the chimney with care.
Silk stockings?
Silk
The stalking. As in, like, the hunt. Fuck you!
Yay!
The stalking. I know what you mean. The stalking.
Stocking. I got it.
Booby trap. That's what I said.
Booby trap?
That's the same joke right there. Stalking. What the fuck? This is the better joke than that. All right. Anyway, number 2. Jason's eye and fist clench. Jason Lives, part 6. I love this ending because it tells you that while Tommy may have beaten Jason, he certainly didn't send him back to hell as he'd hoped. He's down there waiting. His
Come
fist
back
clenches?
and forth shit movies.
Aw.
I love when Dave does it. Aw. Look, I'm not hating on 6. I just don't get this overwhelming love for it. I'm really not hating. God's
I don't
honest
hate it
truth.
either. I don't hate it either.
I really don't hate it, especially after rewatching them all recently. I think the first 7 are enjoyable films. After that, I think it's pretty much downhill.
Yeah.
I do like Freddy vs. Jason. I do like the remake. I like the remake more.
I like the remake. Yeah. I like the remake.
Freddy vs. Jason is more WWE slapsticky, but it's got its moments. Yeah, there's some things that piss me off too, Dave, but there's enough good stuff there to make me able to rewatch it.
I don't hate it either. I mean, it's not fucking like watching Manhattan or Jason Goes to Hell. I'll take Freddy vs. Jason any day over those two and the remake for sure. But yeah, but wait, did he, Christian? Did he clench his fist?
Yeah, he did.
Do you remember that? Why don't I don't remember that?
How can you not? He's wearing those gloves that you always comment on that he's got.
Them fucking gloves. Nice
Did you see his bitch tits perk up when and he clenched his asshole too. Yeah, he fuck farts, then he clenches his asshole.
And his bitch tits lactate right at the end there. It's all in one shot.
Imagine that. You see a fucking milk floating up. Okay. Number 1, Michael Lives. Good answer. Halloween 1978. Of course, the best ending to a horror film is the end to Carpenter's classic. It shows you that no matter what, evil lives on, waiting to strike, hiding in the darkness. Well said. That's a Loomis line. Nice. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm not doing the second half. We're saving it for the next show. We're going to talk about his favorite VHS arts on show number 49. How's that?
Thanks.
That sounds good, man.
Yeah. We don't
Thank you, though.
dominate. Yeah, it's a great email. Thank you. Absolutely. And thank you, Dave, for not doing it all at the same time. All right.
Dissertation. Thank you.
Hey, you're blaming me. Okay, here's one more. Aha. Hello, Headites. This applies to mostly Dave, but Christian and Brandon may answer this question if they'd like to as well. Dave.
Clenching.
Let's talk about American Horror Story. I'm so happy anytime someone defends AHS as a whole, even though the show had its own deterioration of quality and has gained quite the trend of people hating on it, even though they continue to watch season after season. I still consider it an amazing piece of television that brings a great blend of horror, camp, and entertainment. Of course, I was so happy to hear when you mentioned that you hold AHS in high regard. So I'm wondering, if you could put the seasons from your least favorite to your number 1, what would be the order? And what do you think of this new season? Cheers, fellas. Raphael.
Nice.
So, what do you guys think? Have you guys seen all the seasons?
I've seen them all except for 5, except for Hotel.
I've only watched the first 2 seasons.
Okay, so your answers don't... Okay, Christian, which one did you like better, 1 or 2?
I liked 1 better.
Okay.
I could rank the 5.5 seasons that I've watched.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
I would
Don't
say
say a word. Let me interrupt. Sorry. Don't say a word about the new season because I've only seen the first episode.
no. I'm not going to even say anything about them. I'm just going to tell you where it ranks for me right now, based on the 6 episodes that I've watched.
Okay.
Okay, so right now my least favorite would probably be Roanoke. My second least favorite would be Coven, then Freak Show, Asylum, Murder House would be number 2, and right now number 1 would be Cult. What's it called? It's not called Cult.
Cults. Yeah, it is.
It is called. Okay, yeah. Right now, it's to me, it's the best season. Of course,
Holy fuck! Really? Oh man, now I'm really.
The new
sad.
season's your favorite?
right now, yes.
Where'd you rank the first season? I thought the first season was just.
The first season was my favorite. It's my
Okay.
favorite. It's my on number 2 right now on the
Okay.
list.
So go the other way now, because I can't keep up that way. Go 1 to 5. Go
Okay,
best
so season 7 is number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is Murder House. Number 3 is Asylum. Number 4, Freak Show. Number 5, Coven. And number 6, Roanoke.
Okay, and you've not seen Hotel.
I haven't watched Hotel yet. I don't know why I skipped Hotel for some reason. I didn't skip it intentionally, but it's on Netflix, so I will eventually get to it.
You must.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have anything written down. I don't know what I'm looking at that for. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. For the longest time, my favorite season by far was Asylum season 2. I loved it. And the strangest thing happened. The most unexpected thing. Hotel actually took over. It became my favorite. Now, I've only seen it once. But the strange thing about Hotel is that's the first season without Jessica Lange. I mean, she carried. It was her show as far as I'm concerned. I mean, she was. I mean, it's everybody's show, but she was the best part about the first 4. She was fucking fantastic. So not only that it wasn't her, that it was Lady Gaga coming in. What do I know about Lady Gaga as an actress? Nothing. So going into that season, my expectations were low. My wife almost didn't watch it because she loved Jessica so much. And this is one show I always watch with my wife. Actually, pretty much every series I watch with her. That's what we do together. So that's why I have not watched Cult, because my wife and I have been very busy and aren't living in the same place all the time right now. So I'm going to catch up. But number 1 now is Hotel, it shocked me how good it was. I loved it, man. And Lady Gaga was tremendous. So it took over for Asylum. Asylum was number 2. Number 3, I'll go with Murder House. Number 4, I'll go with Coven. 5 would be Roanoke. And 6 would be Freak Show. And even though I'm giving Freak Show a 6, if I'm rating these out of 10, I would still give that an 8 out of 10. So that's how damn good I think this show is. Even, my least favorite one, I still rate high.
I'm critical of this show simply because I feel like, with the exception of Murder House and maybe Asylum too, I feel like they haven't quite wrapped up as strong since the first season. I feel like the first season really captured what I was hoping the vibe of each season would be towards the end. But every season that I've watched, I'm hooked. And then it's usually after the last episode where I'm like, I didn't really care for that ending. And, the reason why Freak Show is so low on our list is because I feel like by the time they got to the last episode, they had so much to wrap up that they rushed everything. And some of it felt a little too rushed.
Did you like Dandy's Rampage? Because I stood up out of my seat and applauded.
I loved it. I didn't like his conclusion, though.
Okay, fair enough. All right. That's fair. I see what you're saying.
But I loved his Rampage, yes.
Oh, dude. I wanted them to cut. Even though there was only like 15 or 20 minutes into that episode, I wanted that to be the end of the show. When he finished their Rampage, I wanted them to fucking roll credits right there, and it would have been the best ending to a show ever.
I was gonna say that probably would have been my number 1 season.
And I cared about the characters. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just I don't know, the asshole in me. I like fucking endings like that are very bleak and fucked up. I think it'd be awesome. But anyway, I love the show. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I think it's amazing. I think it's the best thing on TV. So, whatever. All right. So maybe we should take a quick break.
I gotta catch up on that, man. I want to catch up on that show.
Dude.
I want some mustard on it too.
Nice. Dude, it's amazing. I mean, one of the great things about it is that sometimes it takes 6 episodes before shit starts to come together. You got different things coming from all angles, and you don't know where it's gonna go. And then all of a sudden, like the fifth or the sixth show, things like come together. And you're like, oh, okay. I think that's fucking brilliant. Other people have a problem with it. I hear people like it, and then when it comes together, they think it falls apart. And I have the complete opposite reaction. And I do understand people being disappointed in the finales. It seems like they do everything in the finale. It seems like they do everything in the second to last show that they should do on the final show, and the final show is almost like an epilogue. But anyway, I still don't give a fuck. I love the show. So anyway, let's take a quick break, come back, do our first 20, and we're off to the races. So we'll see you on the flips. Okay, we're back. We're going into our first in our 2020, our top 20. This was voted on the group page, actually. We narrowed it down to like 5 or 6 or whatever it was, and it was voted on. And this one came up number 1, much to my chagrin, because when you hear my list, you'll know why, because I don't watch disturbing movies. If I know something's going to disturb me, I just don't watch it if it doesn't interest me. So my list is going to be fucking weird. So I guess it'll be funny at least. But second place on that vote was Stephen King movies, and it was so close. It was a real tight race. So the other one we decided was top 20 October movies for obvious reasons. It had to be this show. If anybody ever wants to cut ahead in line and pick their own, get on the Patreon. Level 3 means you could pick a 20. And then, you know, it won't have to go to a vote, and we won't have to decide. You can
Level 4, you could pick a 21.
A 21. Yeah, one more movie. Nice. Double the payment for one more movie. It's So anyway, the first is top 20. Of course, we'll do it the same way as always. We'll do 20 to 11. Each take a turn, and then we'll do it again. So who wants to go first? Nobody? I'll go first. Okay.
You go first, then.
That's fine. I don't give a shit. No one's going to steal my thunder, because no one's going to have these movies on their list. I mean, they might, but it's... Listen, if I know something's going to be disturbing to me personally, I've never watched Requiem for a Dream, because fucking drugs, overdoses and shit bug me the fuck out. Certain things bug me out. If I know it's going to bug me out, like, I could sit here and give you a list of 20 movies that are disturbing, that are typical, and I've avoided most of them. So,
you need to see Requiem for a Dream.
I don't think I want to. I think it'll bug me out.
No, it's such a great film, though. And it's not on my list.
Like Eraserhead, I can't watch that.
No, Eraserhead's just boring to me.
Oh, it's boring? I just can't watch it because there's like disturbing ideas in it, I think, from what I know, and it's David Lynch and it's black and white, so...
Look at the look Christian is giving us right now. Like, get to your fucking...
No, because Requiem for a Dream was like my favorite movie for 2000 in general. Okay. I don't know if I put it down as when we did the top horror movies, because I think we were iffy on whether or not we were considering it a full-fledged horror film, but it definitely needs to be seen.
Yeah.
I'll get around to it, I guess. I tend to avoid stuff that just...
Did you watch Trainspotting?
I watched it one time. The only thing I remember is the guy going into a toilet and fucking swimming down. That's all I remember about that movie. You know, I'm an idiot. I need at least 2 views to fucking retain anything. So.
What about the baby on the ceiling?
Oh, that was in that? I thought that was in Requiem for a Dream.
No, it's in Trainspotting.
Yeah.
That's Trainspotting.
I don't know. There you go. I don't even remember anything about it.
You don't want to watch Trainspotting. You want to watch Requiem.
Both movies are worth checking out.
They are.
Opinion.
Drug overdoses fucking freak me out, man. I don't know. The thought of it, I don't know. But anyway, let's get to my ridiculous list. These are things that there might even be just one scene in the fuck. That's why I was trying. I really wanted Stephen King to win, because that would have been a lot more fun for me.
Yeah, we noticed you even voted for Stephen King.
I did, and I usually don't. But
Dave,
I did it for the show. I did it for the good of the show, because I didn't want to have a fucking stupid list like I'm going to have here.
But we had a good idea, though, for Stephen King for addressing that in the new year.
Yeah, that's true. We do.
And I was just going to add to yours. I don't like disturbing movies either. There's more disturbing movies out there. I don't necessarily need to see them. But these were... Right. So my list, there's some that I would never recommend to people to ever see.
Yeah, I know.
Some people view stuff more as a comedic side of things. Yeah, we'll get to it. I guess I'm just trying to say that I understand where you're coming from.
See, I tried to pick good movies that disturbed me. I actually, of my list, I would probably recommend about 17 of these 20 films. Well, there's really only a few that I feel are depraved, because I don't like that depraved, nasty shit. Like, I've seen August Underground, but I didn't find it disturbing in that sense. I just didn't like it and found it just not my cup of tea. Same thing with like slaughtered vomit dolls. It grossed me out that they were actually puking in it, but I only saw.
Are they dolls? Are there dolls puking?
No, it's like a girl's
okay.
descent into madness as she's throwing up. It's disgusting.
It's okay. Yeah, that is disgusting. But if it was dolls puking, I think I would have loved it.
That's a weirdest statement on the show so far.
Yeah,
I think I've got 11 or 12 that I would recommend. I mean,
on your list?
Should we read our list or just
just talk about
teasing?
them. Yeah,
keep teasing.
Go ahead, Dave.
I think our listeners know the disturbing movies. They probably don't want to hear a fucking cliche top 20 that you could just Google on fucking thing and read an article. So I guess it'll at least be entertaining. Okay, listen. You guys are going to laugh at me for half at least, but whatever. It might just be one scene that bugs me out. And this one here, the first one, nothing goes in any order on this one except really the top 3.
The Sentinel.
Holy fuck, that's my number 20. What the fuck? That's what I'm saying. Just one scene. The
Dr.
Sentinel.
Bolchinian.
Yes, Dr. Bolchinian and crew. Yeah, I don't want to see that shit. Very good. See what I'm saying?
Awesome.
It's the Sentinel. I can't watch it. I own that fucking movie. Now that I know what happens at the end, I can only watch it and have to shut it off at the end because I don't want to look at people that have physical deformities and shit. It's not my cup of tea.
We watch Brandon every fucking week here.
Number 20.
It's every week.
So yeah, number 20.
Wow.
20 is the Sentinel. Good call. Okay. Number 19 is Feed. I've only seen this movie once. I rented it years ago, and it was just gross. It was just like an eating fetish and these obese women, and they were puking, and the guy was force feeding them, and people were paying to see it, and a lot of obesity and vomit and other gross shit. It just grossed me out, and no. Number 18 is it's a movie I enjoy. This is one I'll recommend, and this is one I will watch again. There is a few things in it that are very disturbing to me, and this is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. And mostly what disturbs me, and we talked about it when we were on 22 Shots for the 86 show, mostly what disturbs me is what's his name, Tom Towell's character, Otis. He's just reprehensible, his behavior, watching the tape over and over again, and then like flirting with his fucking sister, and then putting his hand on the guy. He's like a depraved fucking pervert. Like, to me, you're gonna find that movies on my list are basically things that could happen in real life, and that's why they disturb me, because it's believable, because there's fucking people like that out there. So 18 is Henry. 17 is Antichrist. I've only seen this movie once, and I did enjoy it. I can't recommend it because of the direction it goes in, but the beginning scene is disturbing in a different way than it gets later. But it's one of the most beautifully shot scenes, but it's heart-wrenching, fucking heart-wrenching as a parent to see what happens to a child and the way it happens and everything. It's awful. That's one way of disturbing. But later on, all I got to say is, without getting into detail, is I've always thought this thought, but never seen it on film until this. And it has to do with fucking something being done to fucking a guy's genitals and what comes out. And I've always thought that as being a disgusting thought, and then it happened in the film, and that was enough. I was like, that's fucked up.
And the balls, man. You and the balls.
Me and the balls. Balls on your chin.
Oh, yeah.
Number Bolchinian. Number 16. Daddy's Little Girl.
Oh, good one.
Disturbing on so many levels. As a parent, it very much disturbs me because of what happened to this child initially when she goes missing. Because without getting too much into it, the guy's divorced, and he shares custody with his ex-wife, and the ex-wife is irresponsible, much like my ex-wife is. So these are the kind of thoughts that go in my head, and I tell her all the time, when your father's not with you, I worry about what goes on when you're not with me. I don't know what's going on in that household. I don't know how easy it is for someone to come in and take you. Shit like that. And the way this kid gets taken, it's some ridiculous fucking oversight that could have been avoided. And then that's just the beginning.
It was Liam Neeson, right?
I think it was. I don't remember, but it's a good movie. But
it was a taken joke.
Yeah, thanks, Christian.
It was a what joke?
It was a taken joke. Liam Neeson taken.
Because you didn't know how the kid was taken. I said, I think it was Liam Neeson. You're like, it might have been.
Oh, God. Okay. So, and then later on when we find out what happens to the girl, and then we get more details about it, it's just disturbing. I mean, I'm
It is.
fucking to say that word over and over again. I don't
No,
mean to,
that's
but-
a good pick. That's a good pick, man. I forgot about that one.
Thank you.
Never seen it.
Number 15 is a movie from this year, Hounds of Love. And,
Ugh,
you know, the dog scene is disturbing.
it is.
And I said it when I reviewed it, that it's gross because people do things like that. And it's gross that this woman sticks by this fucking abusive asshole. And that happens in real life, so that's why it disturbs me. Number 14, this is a movie I never even heard of until we had to watch it for the 2002 show, for when we did the thing with Top 10 on 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, and it's a movie called In My Skin. Did you happen to see this one, B?
Yeah, I've seen In My Skin.
Okay, it grossed me the fuck out. Body horror bothers me, and when people
That's
are...
the French film, right?
Yes, that's the French
Yeah,
film.
okay. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah,
She goes on this thing when she starts picking apart her body and eating her skin and all this
yeah,
other...
after she cuts her leg, right? She cuts her
Yeah,
leg.
dude.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It just bothered me. Anytime someone does something to themselves, like cutting, things like that, it just takes it to another level.
Yeah.
That bothers me, and I have issues with body horror, and especially that kind when you're doing it to yourself. That's just fucked up. Number 13 is an obvious one. It's Martyrs. I don't have to get into it. It's a disturbing film. We know why. I mean, the abuse that happens at the end probably disturbs me the most. And when the punching over and over again, and the fact that this group thinks they're doing something that's good or whatever, and they just disregard human life, it just fucking grosses me out. Just that whole idea. Number 12, Man Bites Dog. I'm okay with it for a while, but then when it gets to a rape scene and how nonchalant he is about it, because he's kind of charismatic when he's killing people, and it doesn't bother me so much. But when it gets to that, that's the first time I see him as pure evil, and it just rubs me the wrong way since the first time I saw it.
Yeah. He's no Leslie Vernon.
No, he's not. No. And number 11, here's a funny one, I guess, because this is a memory that I had when I was a kid. The very first time I saw Carrie. And it's probably not what you think at all.
But tampons?
Well, yes, but the beginning scene when she's in the shower.
Yeah.
And she starts to bleed, and they torment her. Now, I was a kid when I saw it. I didn't understand she was having her period. So I thought that this girl got sick and was bleeding, and people fucking made light of it and teased her for it. And I was thinking, what kind of human beings could fucking do this to somebody that is all of a sudden bleeding all over the place? So I'll never forget the feeling I got. I remember I felt like crying. I was a kid, and I saw that on TV, and it really fucking affected me bad, that scene, because I didn't understand it was a period. So when human beings act in deplorable ways that way, it's disturbing. What's that?
It was a period piece.
Nice. So yeah, Carrie's my 11. All right.
Nice.
Here you go.
Well, thanks for stealing half my fucking movie. No, I'm kidding.
Hey.
Did you want to go, B?
I'll go. That's fine. Okay, for my number 20, I have a film called Alexandra's Project. It's an Australian film about a family man who comes home to find that his wife and kids have disappeared, and all that's left is a videotape waiting for him to be played. And he plays the videotape. It's from Alexandra, who's his wife, and it's pretty shocking and disturbing, you know, how it plays out. It's basically the whole movie, basically, is you watching him watch the tape. And it's brutes. It's tough to watch. And this isn't really a horror film. It's a drama and mystery thriller, but I consider it under that umbrella. So that's my number 20. Check it out. That's one I recommend. I'll tell you if I don't recommend these films. Number 19, Megan is Missing.
Oh, man.
I think, you know, I have a feeling it's going to show up on Dave's list. But again, it's just it's a tough watch. And the ending just absolutely haunts me. Yeah, so check that one out. Number 18, I Spit on Your Grave. It probably wouldn't have made my list if it wasn't for the I'm going to rape you 3 times and we're going to show it for like 25 minutes. It's like, okay, enough's enough. Like,
right.
Nobody, it's like, stop. Number 17, Martyrs, obvious reasons. Although, with the way I interpret the ending, it makes me love the film. So...
Oh, wow. I think you may interpret the way... Did we not talk about this when we covered it?
I think we did. No, we did talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay. See, my interpretation was she told them that they're all going to fucking be punished for what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that would make it a good ending. I guess.
Yeah.
Is that what you thought, too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 16, Man Bites Dog.
Wow.
Yeah. Number 15, the first film I will not recommend. I absolutely hate it. It's a short film. It's Spanish. It's called Aftermath Genesis.
Oh,
I read
know
about
what
that
is.
one. I was almost going to watch it for this show, and I decided not to.
Yeah, it's basically a morgue attendant mutilating and fucking a corpse for 30 minutes, and then he brings home, I think, the heart, blends it up, and feeds it to his dog. It's fucking disgusting. It really is. I see no artistic value in it whatsoever. I know a lot of people like this short film, but I just don't.
It wasn't even shot well? Sorry, B.
No, it is shot well. It's fine. It's well made, but it's like
why? Yeah, I got a couple of those.
Yeah.
Oh.
Number 14. I recommend this film. Yes, it's disturbing, but it's too well made to be as disturbing as it wants to be, and that's a Serbian film.
Well,
It's
that's
just
high up on your list, man. Holy.
yeah, it's so well produced and acted and shot that it's really hard to take this seriously. If this had like the gritty feel of like a Cannibal Holocaust or something, this would be everybody's number one. But there's definitely stuff like I wish they'd left the baby stuff out of it. I really do. Go ahead.
That movie, I agree. It is very well made, and it was on my list at one point. I ended up taking it off because I just ran out of room. And the reason I took it off is because, yes, it was disturbing, but I had already had everything spoiled for me, so I was kind of waiting for it. And when the baby thing happened, I was like, oh, that's it? Like, the way, not that I want to see that, but with the reputation that this movie's garnered over the years, I was expecting to see it done a different way. And number one, you don't see it, not that I want to. And number two, the baby looked fake. So because of that, it was not, the end was more disturbing than anything, but it didn't hit me the way I thought it was going to, mostly because everything had been spoiled. That's the only reason why.
No, I hear you. Number 13, film called Family Portraits. It's like an anthology. There's 3 segments, specifically the segment called Cutting Moments, about a woman who's longing for her husband's affection, but he doesn't pay her any attention, and he instead like abuses his son. And then there's, I mean, I can't recommend watching this, but it is absolutely violent. Let's just say there's a scene where she cuts her own lips off. It's pretty bad. Number 12, Cannibal Holocaust. I love the film. I think it's a perfect film. I could do without the animal killings. I'm not going to be a hypocrite because, like I said, I'm not a vegetarian, so I eat animals, and they said they ate the animals for this, but I don't want to see it. And number 11, what a lot of people have is their number 1, The Girl Next Door. I'm very disturbed by it, basically because it's a true story. I mean, it's not an easy watch, but I feel like I had 10 films that were a little bit tougher to make it through, for me anyway. And I just want to say, because I forgot to start off with this, I left off documentaries, but 3 documentaries that are disturbing but worth seeing. 4, Capturing the Freedmans, the Paradise Lost trilogy, The Cove, and Dear Zachary. And Dear Zachary, even though it's a very disturbing and upsetting documentary to watch, I find that it's that way for the first hour and 25 minutes, and then the last 4 minutes are like some of the most uplifting, restoring faith in humanity moments in any film I've ever seen. I love the film.
Wow.
I love this fucking movie. I think everyone needs to see it and not read about it beforehand. I won't say anything about it.
Dude, I've avoided all 4 of those movies because of the shit that I've heard about them. See what I'm saying? I avoid them when I hear things. You know?
I really, like, of all of those films, I would recommend Dear Zachary of all of them. Like, it has to be seen. It should.
I don't want to spoil it because, like you said, it's better not to know. But I'm going to ask you a question. Does it have to do with a parent and a child?
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's going to fuck me up. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, I cried. I cry every time. I cry every time I watch this film. I mean, I don't watch it a lot, but I've seen it like 2 or 3 times, and I've cried every time.
This morning.
But it's and every night before bed on my huge pillow.
See, I'm fucked. Since having my daughter, I can't watch anything. It's too much. But anyway.
I'm going to have to check out. There's a couple of those I will have to check out, though, B, for sure. So I started with a very mainstream one. Saw this in the theater. I love this film. Totally recommend it. It's totally mainstream. Everybody's probably seen it. And that's 7. And the reason I have it on my list is because I remember being at the theater and there's a bunch of fucking teeny boppers there going to see a Brad Pitt film. And they weren't expecting to see an overweight naked guy sitting on a gurney in a morgue. And you could just see the faces, everybody's face was drained. And the way the movie looks, the way the movie plays out, and the fucking scenes within the movie, there's some disturbing shit in here. So for mainstream, disturbing theatrical experience, 7 was great.
So you were scared of 7 because 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. My son told me that today, and he's 6.
Or is he 7?
Yeah.
8, 9.
No, he's afraid to be that. Number 19, we already talked about it before, Requiem for a Dream. Another film that I saw, but I was like just mesmerized by this movie. Again, this one's more arty than mainstream, but I'm not going balls deep. Like, there are some of these on my list. These are ones that balls deep. These are ones that I've seen that I feel are disturbing enough for certain people. Dave, you said you've avoided it because you've been worried about how disturbing it is. You still have to see it. Number 18, Last House on the Left. Enough said. I think anybody that listens to this show will know that what's disturbing about that. The documentary-esque feel to it, and the revenge. Speaking of revenge, number 17 is I Spit on Your Grave. So, Brandon, we share that one. And not only do we share that one, we share number 16, Man Bites Dog.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Everybody's list. I didn't think that was going to happen.
I remember reading about this, I think, in Film Threat magazine way back when. And I said, I really got to check this out. And I remember being like kind of just sitting there going, oh my God, I felt like wrong watching it. Even though you knew it was a movie, because of the way it was presented, you just felt wrong watching it. At number 15, I have In a Glass Cage. It just didn't sit like that movie. We talked about it a lot on the 22 Shots top 10 of 1986. Check out that show because you'll hear a lot about it. But that's a hard watch for sure. Number 14 is one of my favorites, Henry. It's again, I rated it number 1 that year, and for that show, spoiler, but it's a great movie, well acted for such a low shoestring budget, and it just sort of hits home. Number 13, I did something more from when I was a kid. And I remember seeing it, and I remember feeling empty. And it just made me hate all these type of movies. And that's Death Faces 2.
What is it?
Death Faces 2.
I saw every one of them when I was a kid, but now I could not watch any of them.
Yeah, I don't. You wanted. It was like the ones that you knew about were Faces of Death. This one was even more grotesque. It was more in your face. More no pun intended. It was. I wasn't a fan.
Was Traces even worse than those? I never saw any of these.
I saw every one of those fucking films.
They start blending together.
And they completely blend together.
I think we rented the first Faces of Death, but I'm not into that shit, so I don't even count that because I have no desire to watch that.
Yeah,
I want to watch it now because I hear how fake it is, so I think I can laugh at it now.
Well, supposedly Faces is fake. Death Faces was not. Death Faces was actual footage. And then I just remember feeling just gross after. And then number 12 is Martyrs. Again, by top of the millennium before the Wailing possibly knocked it out of the top spot there. So Martyrs is a great film, highly recommended, but disturbing. Number 11, I did a tie. Brandon, you brought this up too, and you said it might be someone's number 1. I have The Girl Next Door / An American Crime. They're both fucking equally disturbing. They both should be seen, and they both will have you angry, and they're both disturbing. I know I just said that twice, but
that's okay.
There's 2 movies that are tied for that spot.
That's all right. Disturbing. How many times can we say it one show? Take a shot.
On the 20 most disturbing films. It's kind of a cop-out word to say.
I know, but it's tough. There's not too many words for it. Okay. Now, okay, here's my top 10. Number 10, Saw 3. And the reason it's disturbing is simply the fucking brain surgery scene. I don't like to see surgery. I don't like to see it. It looks too real.
Like to see surgery.
No, not that time. Not a brain surgery. That's too serious.
I've seen too many brain surgeries in my day.
I don't want to see that shit. I grew up a hypochondriac. I'm not that way at all now. But growing up, I was always afraid of getting sick. I was just one of them people. I don't know where it came from, and I'm glad I grew out of it. I'm a bit of a germaphobe now, but not obsessive. But anyway, seeing certain things like that, and especially a life-threatening thing, and seeing that Jigsaw himself was facing death, and some of the things that he went through in that film, That's what bothered me. Not anything else. Not the gore. Not all the great kills and everything. None of that. But that scene, those scenes with the brain surgery, it just, man, boy, it fucked me up. Happy Birthday to Me kind of did it too, but they did it much better, I think, in Saw 3. Number 9, I Spit on Your Grave. We've all said it, and it's just like Brandon said. Way too much. 25 minutes and raping 3 times. It just kept happening again and again. It's enough already.
Yeah. I mean, I come after the first 5 minutes. I don't need that extra 20. Too soon.
Nice. Oh shit! Wow. I also had Last House on this list, and then I ended up bumping it. So, and I had to choose the one that to me was more vicious. Last House, at least they showed a little bit of remorse in a way after, and then it went someplace else. So this rape bothers me much more. So I ended up choosing this one. Number 8 is Imprint, Takashi Miike short film. It was one of the Masters of Horror. It actually got banned, so it was never shown on Showtime. And I saw this movie, and it disturbed me on many different levels.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into it because it's spoiler, because I do think people should see it, but tread lightly. There's some things that are, it's just, I don't know. There's torture. Some of the torture is bad, but ultimately some of the things they do involving unborn babies is enough that it's just awful. So number 7 is Irreversible. Watched that for the first time for 22 Shots of Moods and Horror again for, what was that, 96? Or was it 2002? Either way, it was one of those shows.
I think it was 2002.
Anyway, everything about that movie is pretty much disturbing because you're spending a lot of time with dreads of humanity, just disgusting type people, and of course, the rape scene is probably the toughest one to watch ever. I agree with that. I agree with that statement. It's awful, man. It's awful. Number 6, The Woman, for many reasons. Everything going on in that movie is pretty much disturbing.
Lauren's acting.
Nah.
Is this the WWE movie?
The Woman? No, it's not WWE. You've never seen it? Lucky McKee? Lauren's in it. She's freaking... Well, the thing about her is she's freaking incest with her daddy. That's one of the things going on. Not to mention the Pollyanna McIntosh. She's kidnapped, and this guy keeps her in the basement. Angela Bettis is in it, plays his wife, and he's a piece of shit.
That one, right?
Yeah,
I said that was a wrestling movie.
Wrestling? What the fuck? You never watched it?
No, I've never seen it.
You need to watch that movie.
You really... I think it's his best film, and I love May, and I think it's better than May. It's amazing...
I love it, too. I know Moods hates it, but I love it.
I know he does hate it.
Loves women, but hates the woman.
Yep, that's it. Right. But yeah, disturbing on many different levels. Everything about that film is just... but it's a damn good film, so I would recommend it. Definitely. Number 5, yeah.
Yes,
is,
5.
Yeah. The Exorcist. It's one of my very favorite movies, and the stuff that disturbs me is the hospital stuff. When she's being tested in the beginning. As a kid, smoking? I saw that. What's that?
The doctor smoking in the hospital?
Yeah, the doctor smoking. Yeah, that's the worst. No, dude, those things when they stick the needle in her throat to give her a spinal tap, and how she's crying when those loud noises going on with the brain stuff, all the stuff about going into a hospital and having all those hardcore tests on you and possibly facing something life-threatening. Just that thought alone bothers me because I'm still a bit of a hypochondriac, and to see it go on for a child is even worse. And I saw this movie as a child, and it bothered me then, and it still bothers me. It's very effective, and there's a lot. I mean, there's like 15 minutes of stuff like that in that film. It's just a lot of stuff, man. Oh man, it's awful.
The crucifix fucking is fine though.
Didn't bother. I laughed. Didn't bother me at all. When I was a kid, I loved it. I loved everything that came out of her mouth, man. All that dirty talk and fucking.
Oh.
I was a kid too. It's okay, but I loved her,
Dirty
but that's yeah, sucks cocks in hell and all that other shit. Who sees language like that in movies? It was dirty talk. Okay, number 4. What the hell am I doing? Is The Girl Next Door. I chose this as a movie. I was on Cinema Psyops. It was bring your own.
Bring your own movie.
cinematic trauma, and because it is freaking, it's real life. So it's yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That woman, Auntie Ruth, I hate her. I
Yeah.
fucking hate her. I don't think I've ever hated anyone ever in film as I do her. It's awful. So yeah, we don't have to go on with that. And then I fucked up. So I have Girl Next Door on there twice. I don't know how the hell.
That's how disturbing it was.
Is this the comedy one?
That's the comedy part of it. All right.
Hey,
So what else?
With Alicia
I love that one.
Cuthbert or whatever?
Yeah, that one. I like that
Whatever
one.
I-
The tripod.
Whatever I left off. Remember I said I bumped 2 films from it before. Just add one of those as my number 2, I guess, or my number 3, whatever. So I fucked up. So my number 2, Megan is Missing. Yeah, and I watch this movie not quite frequently, but at least once a year. At least once a year, because the first time I saw it, it left such an impact that it stayed with me for a few days, and I wanted to show that to other people. And for whatever reason, even though it's very fucked up and it bothers me, I still like to go back and watch it and get that feeling again, because it's not quite as strong now as it was.
Yeah, let me ask you something, because it is. I do feel like it doesn't maybe hold up as much because it's it's a little dated now. What is it like? What was it? 2002, 5, 4?
I'm guessing.
Whatever, but this is a film like I don't know. Like I feel like maybe parents should show their kids at some point.
Dude, I want to, and I want. Last time I watched it, it's too much. Like my daughter's 11, and I still.
To be disturbed. It's just disturbed. No, I couldn't do it.
That's your number 2 when I'm disturbed. Yeah. I can't wait to see your number 1.
Oh, it would be mind-boggling. My daughter read a news article yesterday about that mom that she saw it by accident on the news feed because she was doing something for school, and she checked the news feed, and in the headline it was about the mom who put their kids in the oven and baked them or whatever like that.
Oh God! And
she freaking saw the article, and I'm like, oh my God, how did she read that?
The worst part is she overcooked them.
Oh my God!
Well, their name's Hansel and Gretel.
No. Wow.
Fucking hell, I just reserved the spot now.
Those were 2 better jokes than what I said.
But dude, Megan is Missing. Oh. Well, last time I watched it, I was like, because I think children should see it for the dangers of the obvious things with online predators. But I wish I could splice it my own way and show my own version to my daughter, like cleaned up a little bit. You know what I mean? But there's just too much sex stuff in the beginning, and there's just too. In the end, forget about it. The end goes to a different place that I don't want my daughter to know about that yet. You know what I mean? It's just No,
I do think 11's young, but
right, very young.
I thought maybe like 14.
Maybe.
Like once someone gets to high school, it'd be like, "Hi, come here, honey. I got to show you something."
Right. Yeah, I know.
I'm so wrong, Brandon.
No, I'm not.
Come over here,
honey. I got to show you something.
Okay. Fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, my Lord.
Victor salivating over there. Okay. My number 1, you guys probably know, because I fucking detest the characters in it, and I detest what happens in
Girl Next Door for a 3rd time.
Jason Goes to Hell?
That too. Cannibal Holocaust. Fuck that fucking movie. I hate the characters. I hate when they fucking rape the fucking... Who would even rape someone dirty like that? Fucking some jungle person running around in the woods. You're gonna rape him? I hope he got fucking AIDS.
Jungle Love.
Wee-o.
It's driving me mad.
Oh, my Lord.
It would have been better if they actually played Jungle Love while... Oh, God. I have probably offended just about everybody tonight.
It's awful. What an awful fucking movie. You rape somebody and the girl goes along with it, and then they burn the house and they fuck on top of the house. What an insulting fucking thing to do to people. I fucking hate those characters, and I hate the fucking director for fucking destroying fucking living things on camera and filming it. I fuck that movie. That's it. I'm done. That's how disturbing it is. I don't even like talking about it,
No, it's a good pick. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fucking
it's great. That fucking movie. Go ahead, Bees.
That fucking Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the Hall of Fame.
It's a good movie, but I do agree that it is incredibly disturbing. Not for everyone. Okay, number 10, a Spanish home invasion film called Kidnapped. Any of you ever see this one?
No.
Home invasion, family is taken hostage.
Kidnapped?
It all has to do with, yeah. Well, they're not actually kidnapped. They're taken hostage in their own home. Is that called kidnapping if you're in your own home?
I don't think so.
The movie's called Kidnapped.
Should be called Home Invasion.
Right.
Should be called Don't Move. You're staying right here in your own house.
Yeah.
Give me your money.
It's called Get in the Kitchen.
Let's just say it's a very downbeat fucking movie. Yeah. Number 9, from a director who released a couple movies this year, Red, White, and Blue.
Oh, I have heard of this, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, he's the director, Simon Rumley, who did Johnny Frank Garrett's Last Word, and I think he did Fashionista also.
Yeah.
This one...
Mr. Watson, I think, was mentioning this one and said it was great.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. It's really almost like it's depraved. All the characters are pretty much depraved in this, but it's really almost like a misunderstanding leads to just horrifying results. But nothing's justified because there's horrible acts in here. So it's really quite disturbing. But I recommend that everyone see it. Number 8, Men Behind the Sun. And there are 4 of these fuckers, but I only ever saw the first one. That was enough for me.
I didn't even know that.
Me neither. I thought there was just one, and I never watched it.
There's like 4 of them, but the first one is supposedly based on actual events of the Japanese torture of the Russians and others during and the Chinese during World War II. It's brutes.
It's a beautiful film, though, man. It's well made. Beautiful. It's a beautiful film. It looks like it looks like Spielberg directed the thing. It's brutal.
I find again, this has some animal scenes in it that are really quite nasty. Even though I believe they are fake in this one. There is a scene where a cat is thrown into like a pit of rats.
Yeah,
a cat thrown into a pit of rats. That's cartoonish.
Not when you watch this. He's violently tortured and killed. But a lot of the torture, like there's one scene in particular where they freeze like the woman's arms and then they like crack her arms and pull the skin off of it. And she's basically just skeleton arms. It's
fucking brutal, man. Look at his face. Dave's losing his mind.
He's just picturing skeleton arms now.
He's picturing the cat and the fucking mice. We call that the Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
I'll try not to laugh.
No, it's brutal. It's on my list as well.
And it's a true story. And, it was covered up. And basically the U.S. let them get away with this. All right. Number 7, Irreversible. Exact same spot you had it, Dave.
Wow, nice.
Yeah,
you guys recommend it, though?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a great film, but man, is it... I mean, to think, not only is that rape scene, without a doubt, the most brutal rape scene to watch, it pretty much ruined her career.
I started the movie. Yeah. I started the movie, but I think I made it 10 minutes in, and I...
Oh, really? It's kind of brilliant.
No, I know. I just have never gone back to check it out.
Just 1.5, the rape scene, and there you go. Everything else is...
I like the 0.5 the rape scene.
Oh, you fucking moods.
Yeah, moods, you and your rape revenge films.
Yep.
Okay, number 6 is the first film of 3 films from the same director, and it's called Benny's Video. It's from director Michael Haneke. I might be pronouncing that name wrong, but he's German director or Austrian. And this is about a young boy who's like so caught up in like the film world and the fantasy world. He gets like a video camera and he starts recording and he eventually commits murder on camera because he's like so fascinated with it. It's really quite nasty.
Sounds like a Ben Bummer to me.
Benny's Ben Bummer.
Yep.
For some reason, I feel like I've heard of this film, but I definitely haven't seen it.
Michael Haneke, or however you say his name, is done. Most of his films are not easy to watch, but I think he's a brilliant director, and 3 of his movies are in my top 6. Number 5 is Salo. There's really not much to say. There's something fascinating about this movie. I've seen it a couple of times, and I really want to know more about what was in the mind of the director going into this. I know they did a film recently with Willem Dafoe where he played Pierre-Paul Pasolini, or Paul-Pierre Pasolini, however the hell his name is said. He played Pasolini, but I haven't seen that. But I'd love to see almost like a documentary on the making of this film and hear from some of the actors involved with it. I've always heard mixed stories. I've heard it was a horrible experience for the actors, and then I've heard it was quite jovial on set. And I would think the latter would have to exist in order for them to film the things that they film in this movie.
Yeah, fucking Defoe does some disturbing movies. No shit.
Well, no, he's not in this film. There was a newer film where he played the director.
Oh, okay. I got it now. All right.
Yeah.
Penicillin? What's his name?
Pasolini.
Penicillin. Okay.
Yeah, so Salo, I can't recommend that to everyone. Number 4, another Haneke film, and it's called The Seventh Continent. A European family who plans on escaping to Australia seem caught up in their daily routine, only troubled by minor incidents. However, behind their apparent calm and repetitive existence, they are actually planning something sinister. That's all I'm going to say. And the disturbing part about this film is that nothing is force-fed to you. It's almost like you really don't get a motive or an understanding for why what happens, and it makes it even more disturbing. Because it seems like just a normal family and just the deconstruction of it. It's pretty brutes.
Damn.
Number 3. My top 3 could easily be interchanged, but number 3 is Eden Lake.
Oh,
and this is a good film.
Movie. Yeah, that movie's great.
This is a great film, but I'll tell you what, the first time I saw this, when it got to the ending, it was one of the biggest gut punches, one of the 2 biggest gut punches I'd ever had in my life. And I vowed I would never watch it again, and I haven't to this day. I won't own this film. I won't buy it. It bothered me that much, even though it's got Michael Fassbender. I forgot the actress who played the lead in it. She's also a name too. It's so disturbing for like the whole entire film, and you're rooting for these protagonists so much, and then it just has such a fucking kick in the nuts ending, and it's like
Kelly Riley.
Kelly Riley.
Yeah.
I was gonna call her Mary Riley, but I was like, it's not Mary Riley.
Mary O'Reilly O'Shea.
Yeah. So that's number 3, Eden Lake. Number 2, my last Haneke film, Funny Games. Now, I've only seen the remake of Funny Games, the Naomi Watts and Tim Roth one. I actually sat down to watch the original one, and the couple in that one was an actual real-life couple. They both since passed away. They both died young. But, man, I got like 10 minutes into the original, and I had to turn it off. It's pretty much shot for shot the same thing.
Yeah,
The remake. I believe there might be one scene that's different.
Is it the same director too, or am I mistaken?
He did both of them.
Yeah, he did both of them. And man, another gut punch. Absolutely brutal, horrifying home invasion film. Disturbing, sick, twisted. I don't recommend this. This is another film I would never own. If somebody sent it to me, I wouldn't keep it.
Yeah, I've avoided it.
I know. Like Eden Lake and Funny Games are the 2 films on this list that I would honestly never watch again.
Wow, Eden Lake didn't bother me. A matter of fact, I thought it was overhyped. I heard so much stuff about it. I was expecting so much, and then I got there and I was like, number 1, it was a little bit too unbelievable for me that nobody ever slept for like 2 or 3 days. I was like, okay. And then when it got to the end, maybe we're talking about 2 different things, but there was a really obvious twist that I saw coming a mile away, and then I was like, okay, that's kind of what I expected to happen, unless I'm forgetting about something that you're talking about.
The way you're wording that sounds like you're thinking of the right thing, but it's still, I don't know why it just hit me.
Yeah, and I don't know why it didn't hit me at all, and why I saw the twist coming, and isn't that fucked up? I've said this before. So many times, people say that everything was so obvious, and I didn't see the twist. And then when I see twists coming, nobody else sees it. It's fucking weird. Like Leatherface. Everybody says when we get to it later, it's so obvious. It wasn't obvious to me.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, see, Leatherface to me was obvious.
Not me. It swerved me. So
we'll get to that later. But but this one wasn't so obvious. But it's still for me. But it's still, I don't know. It just left me really feeling down.
Yeah.
And my number 1 film is a Swedish film from 2002 called Lilia Forever. It's about a 16-year-old girl named Lilia, who's basically abandoned by her mother, forced into prostitution, sold in from human trafficking. It's awful. There's rape, there's torture. It's horrifying. She's got one friend in the world, and it's not a happy movie to watch. It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. I mean, it's a highly rated and well-known film, but it's not easy to watch.
Damn, I've never heard of it.
I haven't heard of it either, and you should have gone last because your list is definitely the most unique. Mine is generic and disturbing.
Generically disturbing.
Number 10, Megan is missing. I took that damn found footage challenge from Dave Z. This movie stuck with me. I mean, fuck. In reality, this could easily be my number 1. Number 9. Number mime.
Number mime. He said it.
Yeah.
You just couldn't hear him because he
Cannibal
Ferox.
That's what I should have added. Yeah, I should have added that as my Phantom number 2, right?
Number 8, Cannibal Holocaust. I mean, these are part and parcel. Maybe it's a cop-out to keep 2 similar films, but it's going to happen again a little further up on the list. I kept both of them because they're both equally disturbing. It's almost like one's trying to outdo the other. But Cannibal Holocaust is definitely the harder hitting of the 2 and the better film. We talked a lot about these in a round robin session earlier this year. Number 7 is Man Behind the Sun. Beautifully filmed, but just devastating, as we talked about earlier with Brandon bringing it up. I didn't have any clue that there's 3 other movies in the series. I don't know if I'll ever check them out, but this movie was brutal. Number 6, The Human Centipede 2. I don't care.
I almost had that on.
Yeah, I don't care if this is supposed to be comedy. I don't care if it's over the top. I hated it, and it was. Oh, really? They meant to make it disturbing, and I actually it just made me pissed off. I don't like these movies. No. So I'm the wrong audience for these movies. So when chick had her baby in the car and is trying to get away and then slams on the gas and crushes her baby under her feet, I'm like, fuck you, movie. I just hate it.
I know what you're saying, that they went shock for shock value and intentionally just tried to throw the kitchen sink, if you will, in every way. I'll tell you this, though. I think that director did that on purpose because of all the backlash from the first film. He was like, oh, so you guys think my first film was so bad? Fuck you. I just think he did it tongue-in-cheek. Just to do it. So that didn't bother me. What did bother me was seeing fucking shit flying around.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah, I don't want to see shit. And the worst part of all, when he put that fucking barbed wire thing on his cock and started fucking the centipede, which is only in the unrated version. Those 2 things bothered me, and that also was on my list at one point, and I bumped it off. That's the only one of the 3 that disturbed me, and only for those 2 reasons.
See, that shit's more nasty to me than disturbing. It's like I'm not a big fan of the films either. I
like them all.
I like the first 2 better than the third. I thought the third was just fucking boring. I just feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel like with Christian, like, they're not really for me. I don't own them. I'll probably never watch them again.
If I had to pick one, the first one's at least somewhat watchable. Somewhat. I'm not a big fan of it. Like,
they make me laugh, all 3 of them.
Number 5 is Grotesque. And this is a piece of shit.
I've never seen it.
This movie's literally, you don't even have, it doesn't matter if it's in a different language because even if you don't have subtitles or anything like that, it doesn't matter because there's literally happy couple walks in the street, guy gets out of the car, whacks him out, they wake up in a fucking room and he tortures them for the movie.
Yeah. And then it gets absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, at the very end. I'll spoil it. I don't give a fuck. If you don't want to hear the next 5 minutes, or not even 5
seconds.
5 minutes.
If you don't want to hear the next 30 seconds, jump ahead a bit. But
maybe you should number mime it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, this guy does everything. There's genital mutilation. He tears them up, like pretty much cuts them all up. Very realistically shot too. Which doesn't necessarily add to its charm, but if you want realism, you get it. But then at the end, he chops off a girl's head. The head flies up into the air, and it comes down and bites him in the neck. And he falls to the ground, and then that ends their journey. But then you see him in a car holding a hammer, waiting for and seeing another woman or a couple go by, and then he gets out of the car and the movie ends. And he's got a Band-Aid over where he was bit by the severed head. And
it's goofy, so
but
ending.
Everything else is realistic, and then
and
then they show this souped up goofball ending. It's not to be taken seriously, I guess, but it's just no enjoyment factor whatsoever.
No, that's torture porn because there's really no story to it.
Yeah, there's no story whatsoever. And then number 4, again, I heard that Charlie Sheen ratted this movie out, so I had to see it. And I hated it. It was Guinea Pig 2. Well, it was the Guinea Pig series, but specifically Guinea Pig 2, Flowers of Flesh and Blood. Again, I just didn't find any enjoyment with this. It just was sort of like a freak show of gore effects back in the day. So the gore hound in me was like, oh, wow, I've never seen this before. But it's not an enjoyable movie. I might be in the minority here, but I don't like that film.
I've never seen any of them, and I have no desire to see any of them. I've seen clips of them, and they just look too fucked up for me.
I want to see that one because it's one of the earliest found footage films.
Yeah,
that one.
It is. You could check it out, but it's not. I don't like it. And number 2 and 3 could be interchangeable: Necromantic and Necromantic 2. Those are gag-inducing. I just
Too necro, too mantic.
Yeah, 2 necro, 2 mantic. Both of them. One ends with the guy stabbing himself until his dick turns into blood, and the other one has a woman chop the head off of the guy that she's fucking while she still fucks him. And then
she farts.
And she farts him, and then takes the severed head out to put the rotted head of the guy from part 1 in his place, and then continues to kiss and fuck him. And so
That's
both
kind
are
of cool.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, I'm actually glad you said part 2's ending because now I've never seen part 2, and now I never have to.
Yeah, that's it. And then part 1 it will come as no surprise, and that's a Serbian film. Again, I know it was too well made, as you were saying, Brandon, earlier, but it still made me angry. I took like 2 breaks, I think I said, when I watched that movie. I was mad at the movie. It's another movie where I'm like, fuck you, movie. Literally, I'm like, who am I talking to? And I did not want to finish the movie, and I go, I'm not going to let the movie win. I'm going to finish this movie.
We can't let the movie win.
Yeah, and that's it, number 1.
Nice. That was a lot of fun, those lists. It wasn't what I was expecting. It was all different shit, you know?
Well, I think I went more generic, and Brandon, you gave me some movies to definitely seek out.
Yeah, a lot of these movies I would recommend. They're actually well-made films. So, I mean, with the obvious exceptions of the ones that are really heavily disturbing that people know about. But Haneke films, Lilia Forever, Red, White, and Blue, Alexandra's Project, those types of films, check out. They're actually well-made films.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I would recommend every one of movies on my list except Feed and In My Skin. I think everything else I would still recommend them. So, but again, sometimes it was just one scene that disturbed me or one character, you know what I mean? But whatever. Yeah. I avoid the stuff that I think is going to bother me. So it's just the way it is. Cool. All right. Well, you guys ready for triple R's or what here?
Do it.
Yeah.
We ready? All right. We have, we're all going to talk about 4 movies that we all have seen. And then we're each going to rattle off a couple at the end. All of mine are 2017. The majority of these are 2017. Not all of them, but the big 4 are. So maybe we should do the big 4 first. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
How about I just surprise you with the synopsis for the first film?
Surprise us.
Okay, here we go. The first film is from 2017, directed by Bobby Rowe, and it is called The Houses October Built 2. Recovering from the trauma of being kidnapped last Halloween by the Blue Skeleton, a group who tame extreme haunt to another level, 5 friends decide they must face their fears and go back out again.
All right.
I shortened that B reading, but
cool.
I chose this one because I'll just come right out and say it. To me, this is just a lot of regurgitation of part 1, only less suspense, and they even lie to you in this film.
Lie to you?
They straight up lie to you.
Well,
is it?
Straight up lie to you.
I don't even know if they lie to you because I didn't know if I told you guys this. I didn't see part 1. And I didn't know if you needed to. And I'm glad it doesn't have anything to do with it. But is part 1 a better movie?
Part 1's a better movie, yeah.
Okay, because I did not like this movie at all.
Oh, this movie's awful.
Okay, good.
It's not as good as the first.
I was really hoping.
I don't mind.
People are loving it. I've seen like 8s out of 10s and high ratings. I'm like, to watch a bunch of people go to big haunted houses are they real? I assume these are being put around the world, or has this been made for the movie?
I think some of them are real and some of them are fake, to be honest.
So literally, it's an hour and 42-minute long, which it doesn't need to be, and an hour
documentary.
An hour and 25 minutes of it is probably walking around these fake haunted houses with very limited story. And then at the very last 10 to 15 minutes, they throw something together that's somewhat watchable. But
well, in part one, it was more.
In
part one, it was more suspenseful and nerve-wracking because the girl was being buried alive, the four guys were being chased. So we thought, okay, these people are dead. This blue skeleton group is evil. They're dead. And then in this one, it picks up with the cop shows up, so they find the girl. Then all of a sudden, the guys are being released, and then eventually they go back out. But the thing that pisses me off is they have that fake news caster at the beginning. And he says, at the beginning, what happens to the five this past Hallows Eve was far more violent and far more tragic. And then he even says it came to a bloody conclusion. And none of that happens in this movie. Absolutely none of that.
Wow, good call, because I don't remember what the hell the guy said. I remember
exactly what he says, and I'm like, oh shit, this is going to get dark. Because I thought the ending of part one was pretty dark. I don't like when people are being buried alive. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to get sick. But like you said, Christian, we get an hour and 30 minutes of fucking walking around looking at haunts that I'm not even interested in, and then they finally get to the blue skeleton. Well, it's not even blue skeleton, this is Hellbent.
Well, and that's it. Are they searching for the gay slasher film?
I know. Seek out Hellbent, right.
Seek out Hellbent. I'd rather watch that again, to be honest. I will seek it out and never watch your movie again. I don't understand why this movie is getting high reviews. The scares. I thought people were rating it 8s.
No, everybody's rating it below the first. Well, I rate it below the first, but not that low. I give the first one like a 6.5. This one, I'll just tell you now, I'll give it a 6. I'm fine with it.
Oh,
but
higher than
it's mostly because of Brandy. I loved Brandy in the first movie, and I liked following her here. I liked that we deal with her trauma. I like, basically, honestly, the haunts are nowhere near as good in this one as they are in the first one. So that, what's that?
Exactly, they're not as good in this one.
But I just like Brandy's story in this. There's in the first one, there's no story. It's just them going, and I still enjoy it, but it's just them doing it and then getting sucked into it, and it's much better.
There's really no story in this one
I
either.
Agree. There's no story. They bring her back as a convenience to get her back to try to apologize for this end part. So what, did they set it up? Was it all set up at the very last minute?
Because they set it up. Yeah, of course they set it up. They said they were, I see what you're saying, where they contacted in the middle and then...
The more I think about it, the more my rating's fucking going down, actually.
You know what? Mine is too.
I'm starting to get more and more aggravated. I was at a 5. I'm starting this at a 5.
Oh, I wasn't even that high, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't think they dealt with Brandy's trauma because they even introduced like a doctor character who was going to help her, and she gave her some generic speech like, how do you feel like if you went back out and you faced your fear head on, and then this doctor character just disappears into fucking nowhere. And then it's
kind of thrown in.
It was thrown in, and whether it was set up from the beginning or not, I like the little twist with Seek Out Hellbent and what Seek Out Hellbent really is. I mean, are we spoiling?
I don't spoil. Not for.
All right, fine. Then what it turns out to be, but the motive behind it, shocking, tragic, more violent, and it turns out to be about fucking YouTube. Are you kidding me? And I mean, the reason why none of what happens at the beginning is true is because at the end you see the camper.
Yeah.
You see the camper before the sign changes.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So I mean, nothing happens in this movie.
Yeah.
Not enough. You're not enough. I thought it was a cool swerve at the end, but I didn't like the end. You know what I'm saying? I liked the swerve because it got me. But it got me
too. That's the only thing I liked, but it still didn't make any sense because this was such a menacing force in part one that you thought was going to kill these people, and now it's like, oh, we just want a social media presence.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's a fucking guy in a bad mask and blue jeans.
Well,
I was not menacing at all. I was like, this is just...
Was he in fucking blue jeans?
Yeah, he was in blue fucking jeans.
He was just a guy. Why not?
The more I think about it, the more I hear what Brandon's saying, and the more I think about it. We haven't even really talked about it that much. Fuck this movie.
I don't think there's much to say about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not. They go for like some little like I don't know. They have these little cameos with Little Kiss in it and Kobayashi. They have the the eating contest. It's a lot of filler. When it finally gets to the Hellbent haunt, it gets a little cool. There's a waterboarding scene with blood. There's the chainsaw with the arm.
The last 15 minutes, the last 10 minutes are the only redeemable part of the movie, but it's too little, too late, and
it's only redeemable until you realize what the motivation is and why it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not even the last 15 minutes. It's at 10 minutes, and then it has the last 5 minutes. Yeah. So there's like a 10-minute period in there where it's like, oh, this is getting good.
And not only that, they can't decide when it's found footage and when it's regular camera. And it's like, it's mostly found footage, but then there's camera setups to get the action as well. It's all just edited together as if we shouldn't care. So it's not even a good found footage movie. Because there's camera shots that sometimes it was like, even when the police pulls up, I think at first it's like the police cam from the camera. But then it would be a camera shot from the ground from an actual camera that would be filming that doesn't exist. It's just actually filmed like a movie would be. And they do that in certain scenes. And at the end, I don't want to spoil things, but so the girl has a camera at one point in the Hellbent house, and then she has to give up the camera, let's say, at one point. Goes through a door, and suddenly it's as if she's shooting with a camera running up the stairs, and you can see, because it's point of view camera shot, as if she's running with a camera with the light beaming, but she doesn't have a camera. And then she runs out, and then it cuts to like an overhead shot that's all done with what all the found footage movies they're doing now with the drones. And it's all shot on drones, and then you get the ending, which could easily be explained as the Hellbent crew, I guess, filming them. But there's some inconsistencies of where the footage is coming from, or who's filming, or if it's found footage, or if it's real.
Maybe she had a camera eye.
Yeah, there she goes. Everybody's got a camera eye nowadays. It's a fucking fashion statement.
She's a fashionista.
I come down on it. I'm only going to give it a 5. You're right. The more I think about it, and the more I start thinking about the first movie and how much more happened, because I enjoy the first movie. The haunts are better. The story's better. I'm on board. I guess me being a sucker for Brandy is what it comes down to, because I think she's hot, and I guess because she's on the screen, I'm occupied. But if you really examine it as a film, not much really is going on. There's no improvement on the original, and it's just,
They have a great idea. I was like, this is the movie? They're just going to jump Halloween Haunt to Halloween Haunt? If they tightened that up, made it more documentary-esque as if they were trying to do it, because the movie is an hour and 42 minutes. Yes, it has an opening credit scene. Yeah. It has an end credit scene. They could have trimmed down the movie a bit, lengthened the climax scene in Hellbent House or whatever the fuck they're calling it, and that could have been really tense. Maybe that would have improved the movie, but it's still not enough substance. It's literally little pieces of story sprinkled in, and it's padded by all this, let's go visit these haunted attractions around the States that may or may not exist. So there's really no movie here. You get a 15-minute movie.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a fail now because it's definitely padded. So it's a 4 out of 10 now.
Yeah,
we all came down.
That's where I started, and that's where I'm going to stay, is at a 4 out of 10.
Okay, I'll give it a 5 for Brandy. But you guys should. I know you've seen it. You should watch the first. I still suggest watching the first one. Expect
the unexpected.
I wish I could say that. Expect a better version of this, where you actually are into the haunts and there's a little more going on, and it's a shorter film. It's not gonna blow your fucking doors off. Otherwise,
I love that.
I would have put it. I know it's good.
Wait, what'd you say to him? It's not gonna what?
Blow my doors off.
It's the new phrase. But I didn't put it on the found footage list. It wasn't on my list. But a lot of people like it. So I like it enough, but not enough to put on the list. But it's a good movie for October. All kidding aside, it's not a bad film to watch. But yeah, part 2 was a disappointment. I can say that.
Yeah, big disappointment. I mean, I wasn't super high on part 1. I think I was in that 5.5, 6 range.
Oh, that low? I'm more like a 6.5.
I mean, I feel like when I go to 6, it's like not a bad movie for me. I'm sort of indifferent to it. I liked it. It's above average, but I can take it or leave it whether I see it again. But it was far superior to this. This, I was just getting annoyed at. I'm like, nothing is actually happening. And based on what went on in the first film, it was really a big step down in terms of tension and motivation and all that. So it was a big miss for me. I don't know what they were going for, but I see what C says about there being good ideas there.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things I'm like, yeah. Well,
the movie was a cash-in, and the plot of this was cashing in on the first movie. It's almost like art, imitating life.
Yeah.
And that last scene when the guy's redoing the words on the board,
Yeah.
it was a cheap ending. Just when you kind of elevated, what the fuck am I watching here type movie to something that I was actually kind of getting into a little bit at the end, only to be disappointed, and then you throw on that really stupid ending.
Yeah, right after the 5 of them drive by in the camper. Then that's the exact moment he goes out to change the sign.
Yeah.
And he's still wearing those stupid fucking blue jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's contrived fucking nonsense. Yeah,
Blue
man.
jeans.
Okay, all right. What's next? Let's go on to something else.
I give it 4 pairs of denim pants out of 10.
That's a new rating system.
Nice.
You guys have a preference for what we do next?
You surprise us.
Yeah, have
All right.
fun. Surprise.
All right, next one. Another 2017 film directed by Alexandra Bustillo and Julian Maury. And it's called Leatherface. A teenage Leatherface escapes from a mental hospital with 3 other inmates, kidnapping a young nurse and taking her on a road trip from hell while being pursued by a lawman out for revenge.
Different fucking kind of movie, that's for sure.
I gotta tell you, I mean, we've got a movie from them earlier this year that was shelved for a couple of years, I think, Among the Living. Now we've got Leatherface. At least these guys are trying something different, because this is going to have people divided, and it does have people divided, as we've already seen. And I've kind of blown my load on this already. I love what they did with this.
I do too. I agree with you. I think they're 2 for 2 this year.
Yeah.
Wow, love it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, okay. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. Yeah. Ben and I both. No, because I was hovering at an 8 at one point.
What
and
the fuck?
I was almost up to an 8, and I decided, you know what? Maybe a further view down the road, maybe it will go up. But I calmed myself down. Excuse me, for a little bit, and I'm a little bit lower. But the characters here are great. I love the fact that they didn't go traditional here. I love the fact that this is really not like any other movie. Some people have criticized the road trip factor. I did joke with you guys that it kind of came across as like Mickey and Mallory and Natural Born Killers a little bit.
Yes, it did.
But it worked. It still worked, and it still played. And I'm not a huge Stephen Dorff fan, but I thought he was great in this. Some people complain there's not enough chainsaw action. There was enough. Dave, I'm with you. I know you haven't said a word yet.
It's an Origins movie.
It's
not even called Texas Chainsaw. It's called Leatherface.
Exactly.
So it's about Leatherface and the mystery they create with the fact that you're not 100% sure, even though my first instinct was right as to who Leatherface was. I kind of caught on to what they were doing, and I even predicted the ending. I just didn't predict which character was going to be involved. But I do like the fact that this is an origin story without giving you too much backstory. I like the fact that when you first see Leatherface, I don't want to spoil, so I'll just say, he was Jed. When you first see Jed get the chainsaw on his birthday.
That was ridiculous, but yeah.
Oh, I kind of liked it. It was like his initiation. Yeah, I kind of like Drayton.
Yeah, but dude.
Drayton and Nubbins are already grown up there. They're already obviously killers and
they
cannibals.
were wrong, and they were fucking wrong. Drayton would never act that way. Drayton was acting in a way that is completely inconsistent with his character. He was acting like maybe Chop Top or something. And why wasn't Chop Top in this fucking film is another. Now, I'm bitching, but it's a mixed bag. My rating is not low. I'm just telling you.
I know.
I just like the fact that they didn't give you too much. They didn't go back to like any childhood trauma. It's just the fact that he was born into a fucked up family.
No, that's all well and good. But like I said, Drayton was written wrong, and then
I don't think Drayton's in it enough. I think Drayton was. I don't think he was written wrong. I think he played the leader enough.
He acted like a douche. He fucking, in the beginning, remember he smashed the cake and he was doing all this shit? That's not Drayton. Drayton doesn't enjoy killing. Drayton is in it because he has to be. He even says in part 1, you don't have to like it. It's just some things you got to do. Drayton is more like standoffish about the whole thing. He looks at it from the business perspective, but he was enjoying being a psycho. And that's not his personality.
He was younger.
I guess. I mean...
He's still younger in this.
I see both sides. I mean, but I'm more in the agreement with Brandon. It didn't bother me. It's a lead-in. It's a lead-in story. Yeah. It's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre Origins. It's Leatherface.
Yeah, just because Drayton becomes this sort of businessman, sort of almost like the father figure to everyone, and stops killing, doesn't mean he wasn't a douche at one point. I do agree at some of the point. I would have liked to have seen Chop Top. I don't understand where the hell Chop Top is.
Yeah, they're supposed to be twins.
Yeah, him and Nubbins, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't... And that's just a nitpick. Just as being because it's an origin story and because it's, they tried so hard to get the names right and tie everything in. I respect that, but do it right. I don't like the way Drayton's character was written. Again, I'm not against the movie. I'm not very high on it, but when Christian was watching it the first time, and I think he was ahead of me by like 20 minutes or something, and he said to us in a message, "Natural Born Killers." Now you say that to me, that's a fuck. The bar is set too high. As I've said before, Natural Born Killers is my favorite movie. Period. So. Setting that bar high, I'm like, really? There's going to be something Natural Born Killers? Then 5 minutes after that happens, there is a prison break type thing and a riot, and that I thought is what he was talking about, Mickey and Mallory, because that happens in Natural Born Killers. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what he's saying. But then they do it again in the diner scene, and then they make her talk like fucking Mallory with that southern accent, and I'm like. Then it got to be too much. I'm like, what the fuck? They're trying too hard to be Natural Born Killers, these two now. So that kind of rubbed me wrong a little bit. I don't understand.
I don't know. I really loved to hate these characters. I think the characters were really well done, especially the inmates.
The characters were fine. I just for the things I complained about I have maybe 2 other complaints. Here's the question. Why would she expect him to remember fucking files that he might have looked at once in his fucking life? Remember when they go in that room or that trailer? Why was there a dead person in that trailer? I don't understand that. Maybe I missed something. Did they just happen to stumble upon a trailer with a dead person in it? I don't know. If I missed something, I apologize. But there was
I think they just stumbled upon someone dead in a trailer.
That's fucking lame. Okay, so. Now that goes on for no reason. Then they're in there and they're talking. And then she says to the fucking guy, one of the guys that escaped, hey, I need to find my real parents or something or other. And they go, I know you looked at the files. Where do they live?
They're talking to the nurse, to Lizzie, because she worked there.
Yeah, but it was her first fucking day. She went in the desk and looked at it for a minute. So this woman actually thinks that this girl that just got hired went and fucking looked at all the files and for some reason remembers where everybody fucking that is in that institution is fucking from and every place they lived before. That it's just bad writing there. It's just a stupid fucking thing to even inquire about.
The mental institution break wasn't the first day, right?
Yeah, it was all the fucking first day. This whole film was, I thought. She got hired, and then that shit went on. It was played off as it was a one-day thing.
A one-day fucker?
One-day fucker? Yeah.
See, I'm not sure. I felt like there was a passage of time. Not a lot of time, but at least a couple of days or a week.
Yeah, but why would that chick fucking remember?
She's a fucking lunatic. She's a fucking lunatic, Clarice.
Okay, then Clarice, why later on in the film was she protecting the others? She fucking can't stand those people. And the cops come and got her, and she's looking for her man, and they tell her, hey, where is where is everybody? She's like, I'm only with my man. I forget his name. I'm only with him. Why wouldn't she fucking rat out all the other people that she couldn't stand?
It was still them against the law.
Yeah, but she fucking wanted them dead.
I've only watched this once, and I've
watched it twice.
Okay, because
I've watched it once, and you're really being a Ben Bummer right now.
I'm just telling you what I saw in the cow scene. It was cool, but ridiculous.
Oh yeah, there's no way all 3 of them or all 4 of them could fit in that cow. I was like, what is this, like clowns in a car? That I agree with you.
Yeah, 1 if you're lucky, you know what I mean? And not with that big fucker in there, you know? But anyway, those are my only complaints. The rest of it is fine. I'm not really an action flick kind of guy, and if this was kind of action-y for me, or it was fine. It's just weird, not what I was expecting for something Texas Chainsaw. And I know that sounds fucking lame, that, you know, I didn't get what I was expecting, so I'm complaining. I'm not really complaining. I just wish it was a little less actiony, a little less natural born killers. We did get some good
the
gore.
kills were great though.
Yeah, we got good gore, and that's one thing these guys do. When these guys do kills in Inside and what's the other movie that we saw this year? Whatever it was. Okay, Among the Living, and this, when they do have kills, they do it right. I will give them that.
Yeah,
and I've said my piece. I'm fine with the movie. I love the ending. I did like that.
I thought the ending was beautiful and justified because of the way a certain character was flip-flopping the whole fucking movie.
Oh, that's another complaint. That's going to make him do that. The reaction from that would never fucking lead to that. Like, think about that Leatherface that we see in Texas Chainsaw in there, rubbing his tongue on his teeth and like a fucking simpleton and everything else. There should have been head trauma involved, something to make it the slightest bit believable that because this fucking incident happened to him, that would turn him from that into fucking that. That's another issue.
He's lost his mind at this point.
It did. Admittedly, I was like, wow, they went for a plot twist when they really didn't need to. And it did take me a little while. I wasn't sure if I bought it 100%, admittedly. But it played out, and I was okay with it by the end.
I had no problem with it because it's not the greatest of continuity between films. So I'm really fine with it. I'm fine with the fact that they gave certain characters more intellect, more what did you say? More, I don't even know how to word it.
Backstory? What?
Yeah, more exposition rather than him whispering like a little girl and licking his lips. Like, that would have been annoying for an hour and a half. So I didn't mind that these characters were the way they were.
See, the swerve was unexpected and it worked, but it just would have made more sense to me if there was no swerve, which was a swerve to me. What you think was going on and who was supposed to be who. I think it just would have made for a better film. I understand trying to do that swerve to be cute or whatever.
I liked it. I liked it because it was the loss of that character that was just the final straw. Like, because that was his family for all these years since he was taken away as a kid. And I like the whole setup that they had their names changed when they're put into the system. Yeah. So I mean, it's very believable. And,
yes, it is. The court order nonsense is definitely, because I talked to a guy that just fucking went through it in real life. So he goes, oh, yeah, I got this, and this, and I had the court order. And then the guy says, well,
you don't have this, you need this order, this form. Yeah.
Right. That is fucking true to life. That's how those cocksuckers are. Right.
He gets what he deserves.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff.
I'll tell you one thing they should have done is follow the Cult of Chucky release. I think that hurt this movie more. I think you mentioned it earlier in the show. Cult of Chucky did a better job releasing, and I think Leatherface should have done the exact same thing. It would have been great to have this premiere on Shudder or Netflix and get a hard copy release a week or two later.
Yeah, well. I agree. The one thing I honestly felt was kind of silly, and they threw it in there for the end, was the twist with one of the cops, one of the marshals. I thought that was kind of silly, but the kills and the gore, it was enough for me to enjoy the film, and the characters of specifically Leatherface. I'm not going to spoil anything, but specifically that character. And I mean, it's called Leatherface, and I felt very, very giddy and upbeat at the end when what happened. I was like, it makes sense to me. It seems everything that happened throughout the movie led to this conclusion. And then I get the fact that they left a huge gap, like a 8-9 year gap between that point and when TCM, the original, happens, but I'm assuming that's the binge eating period.
Binge eating and age gaining for some of the characters. I mean, you still they should have still had this almost 10 years before, almost 20 years before.
Well, they did start
Right.
20 years, and then they did that 10-year jump into the system.
It should have really, the main part of the story should have been that time frame. That would have been a more realistic timeline. However, when all said and done, dust settled, I still came in at 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this. I actually realized that this series has way more hits than most with with 3D and New Generation or Return to Texas Chainsaw Massacre being the only two strikes against it. And I really owe 3D and the New Generation or Next Generation, a rewatch, to be totally honest, to see if I still dislike them as much as I do. I have a feeling I do, but I'd like to see it because I love or really enjoy, since love is such a strong word, I really enjoyed the rest of the series.
See, I'm a little different with you on that. I enjoy the series. I don't have such strong love for it, but I don't have really any strong hate for it. Even Next Generation. What is it? New Generation?
Next. The
Next Generation.
Yeah, Pepsi's both of them are
It's a Star Trek? Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Exactly,
But,
same title. Yes.
Yeah, I was so blown away by the kills in this. I mean, I love that fucking you get the American History X, the bite the stump. Bite the stump.
Yeah.
You get that. And when one character gets shot, the smoke coming from the mouth.
That was cool.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm right there with Christian. I was actually up around an 8, but Dave, you're Ben Bummerish.
Watch it again. I want both of you guys to watch this again with what I've told you.
Okay,
and see it, and then come back to me.
A little, but I'm still at a 7.5.
Beautiful. I like that.
Well, I'm at a 6.5. Yeah.
I've heard that rating from another friend who I told to watch it, and that was the rating that they gave.
Yeah, I'm
6.5.
fine.
So,
but I want you guys to watch it again with the knowledge I've just given you about certain things, and come back to me and tell me if you still feel the same.
It's split. It's split. I'd say more people are not liking it and saying it's abysmal or it's below average. When you look at it from outside the network and some of the shows, and you look at other fans and horror fans and fans of the series, I don't care.
Yeah. I'm with you. I was gonna say I'm with you. I don't care what people think of. Of course, they're entitled to their opinion if they hate it. But I think, especially this year, with the amount of movies we're watching, and I'm watching a fuck ton of movies. This is not a below average movie. It's just not.
No,
believe me. I've been watching a lot of movies that are below average, but this is not one of them.
Yeah.
But if people don't like it, that's okay. I personally enjoyed it.
Yeah, give it a watch.
And it's a short film. Really, not a long running time.
No.
I don't think any of them really are, but this one was like 80 minutes.
Yeah, works out. There's a lot of short movies this year, and I'm digging it.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I prefer it. All right, what's next?
All right, our next film. Anyone want to guess what year it's from?
2017.
It is from 2017, and it's from a director that we all adore, director Mike Flanagan. And it's called Gerald's Game. While trying to spice up their marriage in their remote lake house, Jessie must fight to survive when her husband dies unexpectedly, leaving her handcuffed to their bed frame.
Has anyone read this?
I have not read this.
Neither have I.
Neither have I. I thought I did, and I did not. I was thinking of the Damnation game, Clive Barker. So I fucked up.
And you read it? Because I have not. All I can right off the bat here is okay, we were always talking after Ouija 2, that Flanagan was 5 for 5.
Right.
And after this film, I hate to say it. Well, actually, I don't hate to say it, but he's 6 for 6.
I agree. He's 6 for 6.
You know what? He really knows how to write his characters. He really does. He writes such strong characters, and it's always characters that are damaged in some way or suffering in some way and must overcome. They're so likable, and you really get behind them that a simple story of a woman being chained to a bed frame for 95 minutes is actually like riveting and thought provoking, and I really, really enjoyed this film.
I knew you would, and I was going to say something before this even started, and I forgot. I was thinking it all week long. I was thinking that Brandon is going to love this film because I know the type of films that you love, and I know that you're all about character arc, and I know that you're all about overcoming fucking strife and loss and sorrow and everything else. I'm like, he is definitely going to love this film. I knew it.
I will say, though, for some reason, even though I really enjoyed this film, for some reason, somewhere, I don't even know at what time frame it is or what specifically about the film it is, because I really don't want to complain much about any of it, but it felt like there were pacing issues to me.
I didn't think that, but I want to just rebuttal something that you said. We do all enjoy Mike Flanagan. I think he makes good movies. I don't think he makes all great movies. Hush is my favorite movie that he's made. I'm the Hush fan here, I think, out of all of them. I think everything else has been good. I think where he fails is sometimes where I think the best part should come. But Brandon, don't get me wrong. The characters, great. I think he does have some strong characters. But when it comes to the menace, like in this case, the big bad, the ugly, the Moonlight Man, kind of a misfire again.
Yep.
Kind of.
That's Stephen King, though.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have done something, and he could have just looked more like Death. And I think he was trying for something different, but I don't know if it worked. Then on top of it all, to put the whole plot twist, which is Stephen King, that was a rushed end part, last act part that I'm like, what? This could have been the movie. Or something, or how do you fit this in? It was almost like all this explanation at the very end, and I'm like, too rushed, too much info. What? This is really what they're going for? I don't know if I'm there 100%. I do like this movie. Fucking Carla Gugino? Yeah.
Gugino, yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Great performance.
I mean, it's a one-person show for the most part. And not to take anything away from the other actor, but I'm just saying that she sells the movie. And it does have probably the surprise gore effect of the year.
Oh boy, yes.
Fucking cringeworthy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was great.
Cringeworthy.
It was great.
I want to make sure people realize I recommend it, but it's not without its faults. The last act being a rushed, kind of messy finish.
Unneeded, unnecessary. You know what it reminded me of? Return of the King. That fucking epilogue shit at the end of Return of the King that was unnecessary. That fucking brought the movie down. That's what happened here. I do have complaints. That epilogue, I call it the epilogue because it feels like an epilogue.
That's what it feels like. Like
unnecessary. Unnecessary. It would have been better earlier on in the film. That was a terrifying thought to me because you guys know me and how I am about being alone and fucking all. The way the fucking husband was describing to her was bone chilling when he was saying, you know, they're going to say on the autopsy report that somebody died from starvation or whatever. He goes, but how do you know that death doesn't come in and fucking, you know, whatever, torment you and scare you to fucking death? That's not going to show up. That is a fucking scary thought, a supernatural thought. It's fucked up. And when that was introduced, I was like, okay, that's cool. And then when you see that later, I was like, okay, that's cool. And then what it ended up being was such a disappointment to me.
100%.
Oh boy!
Because it could have been her mind. Her mind is perfect. Her mind is doing it already.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're talking over each other here, but I'm just
no.
Go ahead.
What I'm gonna say, I think I get what you're saying. They could have left it all in her mind as part of her hallucination. I mean, obviously the trauma, but I feel like the reason why they also could have made it known that the Moonlight Man is what he is from the very beginning. Because you hear the news story at the beginning, and that's fine.
Yeah, but it makes no sense though when it happens. Even if we had that information, he's there sometimes and sometimes he's not. He just appears out of nowhere. How is that even fucking possible?
He's the Moonlight Man.
Yeah, it would make sense if he was the true Moonlight Man, and it was what we were fearing.
You gotta remember, she's losing consciousness constantly. So even though we're watching the film and we're seeing it from her perspective. Just because we're seeing it doesn't mean necessarily she's aware of what's going on. You got to remember because most of them, most of the movie is really her hallucination. And I love the fact that I think the reason why they didn't put this Moonlight Man more up front is because this story is more so about her dealing with these suppressed negativities in her life and these horrible traumas that she suffered, not only from her father, but also her husband, and ultimately the situation she's in, and having to ultimately face it. And that's why, even though the ending felt forced, I do love the scene in the courtroom.
I knew you would. I knew you would love all that shit.
I think it's fitting. It felt to me exactly like how what was the other Flanagan film? The one that hasn't even come out yet.
Oh, Before I Wake?
Before I Wake, like they had
in Canada.
There you go.
Well, they have it for sale here on Amazon, but it's $70 for some reason. I don't know. But the way the music was playing, and she was sort of wrapping it up, almost like it was like her story was coming to a happy conclusion. The way they sort of did it at the end of Before I Wake.
It was so fucking forced, though,
I'm
dude.
telling you,
like,
I'm with you, Dave. I'm
right?
with you.
She's gonna walk into the courtroom at that precise moment. Like, you could just do that and fucking go up and fucking say that, and they're just gonna allow it to happen. Just sit. It's just everything about it was fucking. It was fucking Pollyanna, fucking golden-haired, fucking forced bullshit. Then I know people love it. I know people love character arcs, and I know they get wrapped up in a fucking bow at the end, but it just seemed fucking forced to me. And I blame Stephen King, because that's what he does. He's the greatest ever, best character writer ever for sure, but he always has issues. Not always. Most of the time he has issues with the story up, and that was him.
It may have come out better in a literary form, and Flanagan probably should have said, and maybe he was like, who am I to say, let's just leave this part out. But from his cinematic vision, left it out, because it was about her, and it could have just been this vision, and it still gets the point across of her combating her demons, of her father, facing herself as a child. All that doesn't change. None of that part changes. I don't know why I'm holding this pen up and making it as part of my point as I'm describing this.
In a very threatening manner, to be honest.
Well, it's going to go in your eye in about 15 seconds. But there is a mostly good stuff here that happens to be hampered by decisions that, you're right, were probably in the original novel, but that Flanagan could have easily have left out. I mean, maybe he would have been crucified by fans going, he didn't follow the novel quickly, like the Death Note syndrome.
Yeah, but look at
those Mist. Decisions. Yeah.
Look at The Mist. He made a change, and Stephen King said, I love that change. I wish I would have thought of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, let me ask you something. The change, would you have taken out the Moonlight Man completely?
No, I would have left him as a figment of death, I think, or as because of what you said, Dave, and how he presented that, not knowing, that's in her mind now. So the Moonlight Man is just is her vision of death.
So she still got over her trauma. She still gave him that ring. So in her mind, she did her thing to pass on. And then she is defeating her old thoughts and things that happened with her father and her husband and stuff. So she still does have that arc. It just isn't shoved down our throats quite as much as it ultimately ends up being. That's all.
Hell, you know? They could have showed her not have the ring or whatever like that, and she thinks she gave it to her, and then the camera could have panned down. It could be under the floorboards, or I don't know. I don't care, because that's not really the important part of the story. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe from the literary sense, it might have a significant amount of importance, but for what was presented here, it wasn't. I thought there was a lot of other good things about the fact that most of this movie is about her strapped to this bed, and yet, how do you make a movie entertaining about that? And I thought Flanagan did a great job. You said pacing issues, Brandon. The only time I think that comes into play is in that epilogue, as you call it, Dave.
Yeah, and that's it. Just then.
Force feeding everything down in there. I thought when he first goes down, there's an issue with the dog. I was like, holy fuck. Yeah, this is fucking intense. And then as
good
it plays out,
with the dog. Good setup with the dog, with the meat and everything. Because in the book, it didn't happen that way. The dog just kind of showed up.
I think he should have been without I'm trying to be vague here because I don't want to spoil too much. But
don't.
Yeah, I guess I'll stop. I won't say what I want to say.
I'll say one thing. The beginning bothered me too. That after only 3 hours, she's fucking hallucinating. They should have played that better, where it was like 2 days and then shit like that went bad. Like after 3, because the guy even said it was either 3 or 5.
2 hours. It was like at first it was like 2 hours, I think.
Well, the guy said it. Her husband said it when the first time he gets
Bruce
up.
Greenwood.
Right, he says either 3 or 5. It was an odd number. I remember that. I can't remember what, but either way, there's issues about water already, and there's issues about her hallucinating already. Way too fucking soon. As the filmmaker, I think he should have done something, even if it's some cheesy thing when you saw the sunrise and the sunset and the clock hands moving fast. Any fucking thing to have more time pass before it gets to this extreme measure.
How about Katie rocking back and forth on the bed with the time code?
Yeah,
that's to me where some of the issues were, where some of the pacing issues were. There was maybe a little bit too much dialogue, specifically with Bruce Greenwood's character, maybe too early on, because that's where I felt like it dragged a little bit too much of the inner dialogue with Gerald and with herself.
Yeah.
But ultimately, some of the shots would have had to been taken out, and I'm trying to. I mean, I still liked it, but I see what you're saying about. I felt the same way about the ending being a little forced. They believed my amnesia. I started a foundation. All this, and it felt forced, and it came out more like something you would read in a book than something you would see in a film.
Good dialogue though, and I'll tell you this: I was engaged pretty much the whole movie until the epilogue, where I'm scratching my head. But I mean, I can't complain, and I'll tell you this: very well shot. It might be his best looking film, Flanagan. It looked really good.
Yeah.
It did look great. Yeah.
Right.
The direction was great. They would have had to change a few shots around had they taken a different approach with the Moonlight Man. They would have had to change. I don't think they would have had to change around the footprint. I would have left that there. I would have left that there no matter how they went.
I agree. Why not?
Just because the mind can play fucking tricks on you no matter what. But the face being gone would have had to been different.
I'll tell you what, all that stuff with fucking her father was solid stuff. And how about that before I say that, as I'm watching this movie, I watch this with my wife because she'll watch anything Stephen King. So we put it in, we're watching this one, and when I see this Carla Gugino girl, I say, at first I thought it was his wife. I said, is that his wife? I said. Then as it goes on, I said, no. But that looks just like his wife. Not just like. She looks an awful lot like his wife, the girl from Hush,
Yeah, and then she plays her mother. And
then she ends up playing her mother. Well, maybe she did that on purpose. Maybe he did that on purpose. But I was like, what the fuck? This guy's obsessed with his wife and women that look like her. But whatever. I just thought that was kind of funny. But like, as soon as my wife notices this, she's like, how come they don't close the door when they have sex? And I'm like, well, it means something's going to happen. And then she's like, hey, how come they don't just have a safe word? I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm not experienced enough and stuff like that. And then my wife said that before it even happened. She's like, you see that there is a phone on the nightstand when she's first cuffed. Why doesn't she reach her legs over and try to get her fucking phone with her feet? And then 10 minutes after she says that, she tries it and she's too far off. But it's funny that my wife was watching this movie and as a casual viewer and picking up on this and this and this and questioning things.
Did you ever say, hey, shut up, honey, I'm trying to watch the movie?
Maybe I fucking should have, huh?
Yeah. If we're in a theater, would you be talking to me right now?
It was probably the only 2 hours I got to spend with my wife.
Now I feel like an asshole.
That's why I said that. And I like all the references, the Stephen King references. They said Bag of Bones, the Cujo. There was like another one too. I forgot what it was. They had a little nod.
Dolores Claiborne, although I didn't get it at first. I was reading all of them.
The Dolores Claiborne, I learned it because of a podcast, so I can't confess to know that. So, but those things are good. And like I was saying before, and I got started on a tangent, I'm sorry. Everything with the father was handled fucking great. That whole sequence was great, and what he did in the bedroom after and everything else, and they said he did this, but what he did later. The way that was played was, I hate to say masterful, because it was a bad thing.
No, to me, that's the best part of the film.
Was it disturbing?
It was.
Henry Thomas, man. Henry Thomas.
Fucking Elliot.
Amazing.
Raping young girls, Elliot.
He was Norman Bates, man.
Yes, he was the young Norman Bates.
He was Norman Bates!
And Olivia Hussey, his mama. Right. Nice. Yeah.
It was good stuff.
Yes.
Maybe this will go up, but for me, it's a 7 out of 10.
For me, it's a 7.5 out of 10.
For me, it's an 8 out of 10.
Oh, not bad. I thought you were going to come in like a 9 when I finished watching
No. Only because I felt like it dragged like maybe 5-10 minutes too long. And thinking about it as we discuss it, I mean, obviously death has to play a part in this, you know, with her hallucination, her ordeal, and her potentially having to face death. But now I'm thinking maybe, not that I was thinking it was handled perfectly, because I was always at an 8, but thinking it probably could have been handled better.
Yeah, different decisions could have been made.
Yeah,
You know?
but I'm still a fan of his. And Christian,
Oh, yeah.
it's like you said. I mean, my favorite too is also Hush. Before I Wake would be second, and then
Absentia love? Damn.
Absentia would be third. You know,
Wow,
but
Oculus that far down? It's weird. I'm different than I think.
I actually didn't
Absentia-
love Oculus the first time I saw it.
Wow, no shit. I think Absentia is my favorite still, and then Oculus right after. Actually,
See, I prefer Absentia, and I'm
you're an
sticking to it.
absentia landlord. Yes, nice.
Oh,
Well, I'll tell you what. Everybody's blowing.
Oh,
oh my
Oh,
God.
come on, Pete. Shit.
I wish that joke of yours was absentia from the show.
it's an old joke, Dick Lips.
Yes, it is. Oh shit, dude! Everybody's blowing this movie. Have you
Well,
noticed?
it's easy to blow it when you have dick lips.
Out of the gate, someone's like, "Forget it." Gerald's Game is the Stephen King movie of the year, and I was intrigued. They were wrong. I mean,
I
they're
liked
both-
it more.
yeah.
I liked it more.
Yeah.
It's completely different films, and I'm
Yeah.
hearing really positive stuff about 1922, which is coming
Hey.
soon.
I just love hearing positive stuff. This was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was very good, possibly excellent, but very good right now.
Yeah.
For me. And we know Dave is blowing it like he was blowing the witch.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm looking forward. I mean, hey, year of the mainstream horror, as we called it.
Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
I am. I'm not the mainstream horror.
No. I said it's the year of the mainstream horror. What do you got?
Oh!
Is your beard fucking growing into your ears?
Yeah, not quite yet.
Did you accidentally delete your notes? You're
I
not
thought-
listening?
No, I'm all right. I thought you said you're the mainstream horror. I thought you were calling me the mainstream horror. Not year of, your.
He's
That's
just-
what I heard.
He's sort of self-conscious now since Saw 3 made it to his most disturbing list.
Hey, I explain that shit.
No, I actually appreciated your list.
Thanks. Hey, it's the best I could do on fucking.
It was an honest list. It's the
Yeah.
most disturbing of the movies you've seen.
Yeah.
Why would you say films you haven't seen? I could have said films I haven't seen.
Right, yeah.
Why are we going back?
I feel people do that, though. They do. Again, that's 2 shows in a row. Do. They'll be like, oh, yeah, well, I won't watch it because it's disturbing. Well, you can't put it on a list. How do you know?
Yeah.
Other people have said it was. I told you I watched that Begotten. I couldn't even get through it. I'm like, this is it's just artsy bore. Doesn't make
Humorous bore.
Anyway, let's get on with it, man, because I feel like we've got a cult movie coming up.
Indeed.
All right. Our next movie is called Never Hike Alone. No, I'm just kidding. 2017's Cult of Chucky, written and directed by Don Mancini. Chucky returns to terrorize his human victim, Nika. Meanwhile, the killer doll has some scores to settle with his old enemies with the help of his former wife. I don't know. That doesn't really feel like it makes sense, but...
Well, I'll tell you what.
You tell us what, man.
I'll tell you what. I felt one way the first time I watched it, and when I watched it a second time, I felt a different way. And that's why I put that post on the group page about saying that it's a completely different experience watching it for the second time. Because the first time, it was a little too jarring for me when we found out what the cult was, and I started trying to figure out the reasons behind it and how and why and everything else, and then...
I got
a fucking timeline written down in my brain right now that I've been working on all day to make this all make sense, and I can get it to make sense. I'll say right off the bat for this movie, I had so much fun with this movie, but it's not a good movie.
Really? I think it is a good movie. I think
thought
that
that-
Don
oh my
Mancini has come a long way from fucking Seed as a director. I thought Curse was well directed, and I think this is well directed. I like the look of it. I like the look of the fucking how it was all white in the institution. I like some of the
stupefied.
Some of the kills. What happened?
Brandon looked like he's stupefied at what you're saying.
I thought the look of the Chucky. I didn't like the look of the new Chucky. I didn't like the movement of the new Chucky. I thought the CGI at times was absolutely atrocious.
I've been complaining about CGI left, right, and center lately, and I'm nitpicking when I complain about it, and I had no issue with this movie whatsoever. I'm with Dave on this one.
The Asian girl kill? Oh my god, that was atrocious.
Oh, that was a great kill, though.
Beautiful kill.
Terrible. Stupid.
No.
Wow, really?
Here it is, because we're all fucking blowing our loads left, right, and center. Brandon's looking whiter than ever. This is the reality. I'm not a Chucky fan. Never really have been. Never really cared. I thought all the first movies were okay. I became a bigger fan with Curse. Curse and Cult of Chucky are my two favorite Chucky movies.
What?
Yeah. I don't... Child's... I'll tell you right now. Child's Play 1, 6.5. Child's Play 2, 6. Child's Play 3, 6. Oh. Bride of Chucky, 6. Seed of Chucky, 4. Curse of Chucky, 7. And I'll save my rating for Cult of Chucky at the end.
You're fucking nuts.
I'm not nuts.
I honestly think we're gonna come in around the same rating. But if you look back to like the original Child's Play, the animatronics involved and the
ludicrous.
No,
beautiful.
Ludicrous.
Great, dude.
Look at animatronics, great. Look at the fucking visual effects there. It looks like it was fucking Hellraiser TV. It looks brutal. The voodoo stuff was all just cheesy. Once they got away from all the cheesy stuff,
it's cheesy.
Let's not even talk those movies. We'll be here all night. We should do a retrospective if we're gonna fucking talk about Child's Play.
Oh, I don't want to blow the one that
Voodoo for Dummies. Are you kidding? Voodoo for Dummies.
So that's a throwaway line. It doesn't matter.
No, that was legit.
No, but it's a throwaway line. It's almost like a joke. It's fucking. They do that self-awareness shit. That's just something to say. Voodoo for Dummies. In other words, it's just a cute way of saying. It's another fucking spell that I know or learned. So what? I mean, they made it a little comical, but that's what they do.
I'm surprised you like the comedy, Dave, in this.
Well, it's not that much. The first time I watched it, I thought there was too much comedy. The second time I watched it, the only time I recall comedy...
Cuckoo's Nest comment, everything
was good. What's wrong with the Cuckoo's Nest comment? That's playing tribute to fucking Brad Dourif. I don't get...
No, I get it, but it's forced. It's a little too. It's enough. I don't need it.
Okay.
I want my Chucky scarier.
I would have preferred it a little less because 6 was like the perfect combination. Like to me, there's one, and I said not to talk about. I'll just say this quickly. 1, I love. 2 is pretty good. I don't like anything else until Curse came along. Then I really liked Curse, like 8 out of 10. Really liked Curse.
Yeah.
And this one, I was disappointed at first because Curse was such a high. And I was comparing it to it, and no, it's not as good as Curse. And yes, there was a little bit more comedy, but it still wasn't anywhere near what the fuck we had to put up with Bride and Seed at all.
Here's how I feel about this movie. I don't love it as a standalone movie, even though I really enjoyed it, and my rating's going to reflect my enjoyment of this. But I love where this story is going because I see things happening for 2-3 more movies down the line. I see this being a whole different thing. Now, in terms of this multiple Chuckies, I thought it was silly that for the first 7 movies, he's trying to get into a human body, and it's a 6-hour chant. And now all of a sudden, to awaken other Chuckies, it's Merci beaucoup, Pee-wee, or Ave beaucoup, Dembella.
But that's cool.
That's fine. Whatever. He could wake up all the Chuckies, and that's fine. I like the doctor character. I loved to hate him. He was such a fucking creep with his fucking foot fetish.
Right. Right.
But I thought some of the kills, the first kill was so sloppy that it really threw me off. But because every kill after that was great. Not the first.
I loved all the kills.
The decapitation kill was terrible. I thought the doctor kill was great. I thought Carlos's kill was great.
Yeah, they were all good kills. They were gory. And the decapitation scene may have been a little bit weak, but I wasn't even looking at it by then. I was too busy marveling at the fucking way it was set up with the fucking glass falling from above. I thought it was fucking awesome.
It was Argento-esque.
It was a callback. Yeah, dude.
Almost.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And
cool.
I'm not. I never found any of the Child's Play scary. I was 14 when the first one came out, and I never found it scary. So maybe if I was younger, I would have grown up with it being scary, but I never did. So I just was like a cool kind of wisecracking killer in a doll. It was always silly from the get-go. By saying that sentence, you can't say...
in this?
Fucking every time I say it, he always fucking cracks that same joke.
That fucking lizard is great in this movie.
My two favorites are the last two. I may be alone in that, but this is coming from a non-fan that likes the last two movies the best. I can't wait to see what comes next.
I love the opening of this film. I love that they immediately jump right back in with Andy, and I love the feel. I love the fact that he has Chucky's head. Yeah. And at first it was like, I'm like, after I finished this movie, I'm like, okay, how does this make sense? How could he be doing this? But here's what happens. There's a 6-month gap.
Don't spoil too much.
No, but there's a 6-month gap between Curse and this. So there's a period of time where Tiffany has Chucky before she mails him to Andy. So everything is done before she mails him to Andy. Everything is started. His Voodoo for Dummies discovery is all prequel to this. So
yeah, absolutely, because
it has to be.
I know it does, because the scenes at the end, the end credits, those two scenes that maybe not everybody saw, are imperative for this film. It's almost like he put him in that movie just because he knew where he was going with this one.
Yeah.
So that's what it took me a second view. That's what I'm saying. I had so many questions the first time. Then I listened to a few podcasts and I talked a little bit online, and I was like, okay, hold on a second. Maybe this does work. And then I went back with that knowledge, and it was a much more enjoyable second view. I was like rolling with it, and I was fine. And fucking, I'll just say one thing, Nika, what happens at the end is fucking awesome. At first I didn't like it, but now when she does the fucking laugh, it's fucking spot on, and it's for obvious reasons, of course. But when she does that laugh, it was great. It was soon as she fucking you see her go in a different direction. Boy, did she get fucking sexy.
I did like the laugh, but then some of it would sound like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey," I was like, "Why are you talking like that?" Like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like Charles Lee Ray never talked like that.
You're a fucking poser. I loved that shit. I thought it was great.
Multiple Malcolm. That was fine. The main issue for me within the story was when Tiffany shows up talking about how she was Alice's caretaker. Like, that can't be. How can that be?
Who cares if she was? She could have made it all up.
They just wanted her. She was there to deliver the doll.
Correct.
Yeah, but she says Alice is dead. So then wouldn't they look into that? Wouldn't the doctor look into that?
Sure, after she left, maybe, yeah. But by then she's gone, so it doesn't matter. And what the fuck does that asshole care?
It should have come to light then, because I don't think what's being said in this film is true.
I don't get it. What should have come to life?
I think Tiffany has ulterior motives, and I think Alice
maybe so. Maybe we'll find out in the next film. But then that's fine. Listen. I complain about Don Mancini, and I don't give him a pass, because I don't like the way he changed the mythology in Seed. Pardon me, in Bride and onward. And I remember somebody saying to me online, well, he did it. He's the guy that created it, so he can do it. I said, no, if anything, that makes it worse. If you create a mythology in fucking Child's Play 1 and 2 and then do something later on, that's fucking ridiculous. Then you should be criticized more, because you're the one that created it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
you can't accept it. You know?
Well, we can just accept it since it's really just a killer doll film. But even some of the voodoo stuff here, like, okay, like he can awaken any doll, any good guy doll, and it's got his part of his soul. So every doll is Charles Lee Ray, but when he transfers into a human form, that doll is no longer possessed.
I never thought that deep about it, but maybe you're right.
Well, that's what happens, because a certain doll is just lying there incapacitated, another doll is and then there's one doll that stays behind.
Okay, all right. Well, there's good things in this film.
I had a blast with it.
Which is alive and which one isn't, and we're trying to figure it out. Maybe they switched, and I was fine with the characters. Malcolm maybe got a little annoying, but it got cool later. I don't know, I was just on board. I was engaged enough with all the characters, and it was a short movie, and it was well paced. So I was fine. The first time I saw it, I was really turned off when all of a sudden there's a bunch of Chuckies in one room making fucking jokes. And I was like, I don't like where this is going. But again, second to you, Dave, knowing what to expect going in the second time, it was a much easier pill to swallow.
You should have called this film Cult of Chuckles.
Chuckles and Fuckles? Yeah, I know.
I loved it. Again, I keep saying love. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought Fiona Dorff was awesome.
Yeah, she was.
And again, so, I mean, I can't, I watched it on Netflix twice. Supposedly it's playing, I just noticed here it said it was playing on AMC.
Yeah, it is, Fear Fest.
Yeah, on October 24th. 10 p.m.
I got the Blu-ray, man. I had to see it uncut, and I had to see the extra scene because fucking assholes, and I'm gonna call them out. I don't give a fuck. Even people that have spoiler fucking podcasts and go into a spoiler review. Guess what? The only way you're gonna see the added scene is on the Blu-ray. It's not on Netflix or anywhere else. So why would you spoil that shit for your fucking listeners? I was so pissed off because I had the bonus scene fucking spoiled for me. I would have so much loved to see it naturally as it happened. It's not an amazing thing, but if you're a fan of the series, it's
the end credit scene?
Yes.
Oh, the end credit scene. The end credit scene bumped the movie up a half a point for me. I was like, yes. Yeah,
it was cool, but that was robbed from me because fucking podcasts had to tell you. Yeah, what the fuck? Podcast fucking people that are listening that are hosts, don't fucking do that shit to your listeners, man.
Yeah, JP. Was it JP?
I don't remember, but all I know, maybe even three podcasts spoiled it. I mean, I understand a spoiler review. I understand a spoiler review, but not everybody that has seen that movie has seen that. So half of your fucking listeners. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not going to spoil it from you, because I'm not an asshole.
Are you saying, other than that last scene, there's even more gore? Because I can't imagine it even being gorier.
No. Here's the thing. Because
there's slightly more gore. Slightly.
But the movie is pretty much the same length. What Netflix didn't have, because I watched it on Netflix, was the end credit scene. After the credits play, there's a scene.
Yes.
Which is pivotal to the continuation of the story.
It's cool.
I went online onto a certain site and check that out after
I didn't know if it would be on a certain site at all, so I said fuck it, I'll just go get the blue. So
I'm gonna buy the blue too, because I already have the box set with the other 6, but I had to see the scene right away because somebody said there's an end scene, but it wasn't quite spoiled for me. They said someone shows up or something like that, but that's all they said, and I was like, nope, stop.
You having the box set of the other 6 and not having that, and this one as part of that box set, it's kind of like doing a podcast of like the first 3 Hatchet films, but not having the 4th one in it. It just makes it an incomplete podcast.
Indeed. Nice. Nice. Do we have anything else? Yeah, it's okay. You're supposed to be a dick. That's fine.
I think we can get into ratings. I don't think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'll tell you what. 7 out of 10 for me. The first time I watched it was only a 6. This bumped it up to a 7.
Cool.
Yep.
See?
I'm right there with you, Dave. 7 out of 10.
Nice.
Hey, you guys are gonna probably start yelling at me like, what the fuck? But I'm at a 7 out of 10 too, even though I had all those criticisms.
Well, you called it out though. You did say that you.
I did,
yeah.
but
it's not a good movie, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you
I had so much
it.
fun with it. I loved it. Like I felt like if the Chuckies like had the look and some of the CGI was a little bit better, I probably would have been at like an 8.5. But as part of the bigger picture, I really enjoyed this, and I like where I see the series going.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it could go anywhere. Who knows?
Yeah, but I kind of like the cult thing, and I love the fact that Andy's back in, and I always liked Nika. I had no complaints with Nika. Some of the talk after she.
I love that stuff. That's funny because she got so sexy to me as soon as fucking she got that way. I was like, oh, look at this girl. Because I always liked the bad girls, and she was trying to act like a bad girl. So I was like, oh, look at this. You know, she gave a look right away.
So
she turned around.
Oh, look at this girl.
I was like, ooh.
You know who she reminded me of at that point?
Brad Dorff?
I knew someone was gonna say that.
Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
What do you got against Natasha Lyonne?
I'm not really. When I think of Natasha Lyonne, I think of that fucking. Yes, exactly.
I'm thinking of like
American Pie.
Like American Pie. Like, hey, you know, Shermanator, listen to me. Hey.
Right. That's funny. You fucking with me? How about that one scene with him when he said that to that fucking woman? I'm a schizophrenic, and I can see you. Can you see me? That was great.
Yeah,
that was
with
good.
me,
I
he
like that.
says?
My favorite was every time he knocked out the doctor, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this guy. I don't know whether to kill him or take notes.
Right. Chucky himself was great. I mean, 80% of the fucking shit landed the right way. The wisecracks. It wasn't too much. A couple maybe. I like when he says fucking what the hell did he say? All actual examples. When they're talking about he was talking about murders that had happened in the series prior. When there was discussion going on. It was good. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with it. I'm glad we covered it.
Boom. All right. So we got a couple more to fly through, and let's fly through them.
I can go first.
Okay, shoot up.
All right, guys. Another movie from 2017, and it's Happy Death Day.
Oh, boy.
So, Happy Death Day, a college student must relive the day of her murder over and over again in a loop that will end only when she discovers her killer's identity. And it's directed by Christopher Landon, who last show you'll know was hugely part of the Paranormal Activity series and directed The Marked Ones. Also directed Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. So this movie is done very well. Another check mark for mainstream horror, making some money at the box office as well. On a $5 million budget, it's already pulled in quite a bit of money. So here's the reality of it. I went into this movie with Vince, my co-host from TGIF 13. You guys know him. Blowing this movie. He said he saw it, and he said this movie is an instant classic. This movie reminded me, dare I say, as he put it in his words, of seeing Scream for the first time in the theater.
What?
He loved it. Loved it. And so I was like, well, I thought I was going to like this movie based on the previews and everything else. I watched this preview actually a lot. I was like, I really love how this is put together. I really want to know if this is going to be more than the Groundhog Day thing. And I'll tell you this, the movie is fun, but the movie is not on the same par as Scream. I didn't think it was great. I think it was a good movie. It was worth seeing. I'm happy I saw it. My daughter and I both liked it. My daughter probably liked it more than I did. It was scary for the first little bit, the first third maybe, as of course the story builds and it plays out, and we're introduced to the masked killer. The mask, which may seem ridiculous in the trailer, is explained very quickly as to why it's that mask, and it ends up being quite creepy. And there's a little bit of tension and a good scare. But as things start playing out again, the horror starts taking a back seat, and it's very, very much less of a horror film. It's just a cool scenario that plays out. And there are some surprises, but without trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, the movie does play with this Groundhog Day aspect, gives you a few surprises, and at the end of the day, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay. So not what I've been hearing. People have been blowing this movie too.
I'm really surprised. I really wanted to love this. Like as I was sitting there, I'm like, I was even saying to myself, I'm like, okay, that was good. I'm like, okay, why am I not like just smiling ear to ear?
And then your daughter's like, shut the fuck up, Dad. Stop talking to yourself. I'm trying to watch this movie.
What are you, Dave's wife? So
well, I tell her that.
But I was sitting there like kind of arms crossed going, okay, like the movie's not by any means boring, but I just wanted more to happen. And there was no blood. Like it actually, my whole family could have gone to see this. Even my son would have liked this one because you see more blood on TV now. Yeah. Save for blood on the knife, it's really not gory. It doesn't have to be, but I just thought it needed something more. I don't know what that would be based on the premise of the movie. It lives up to the premise. It's not like trying to pull a fast one with you, but it wasn't great. And I talked to Vince afterwards.
Curse. That PG-13. They went for the cash grab to get the kids in. The kids are gonna go. I mean, the film did really well, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of teeny boppers there, but it wasn't a packed house on when I went to see it, and there's like another older couple as well. Everybody seemed to leave the theater happy, but it wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be. Another Final Girls, or something else but 7 out of 10. I mean, it's still a great rating.
My daughter wants to see it really bad, so I'm definitely taking her. So
I'm going to take myself to see it.
Yeah, take yourself.
Family's safe.
There you go. Good thing. Glad to hear that. Okay, all right. I'm going to get into one quickly. I have a screener for this one. This one is called House by the Lake, 2017. It came out on VOD and DVD on October 10th. It is directed by Adam Garash, and he did Night of the Demons remake. He did something in Tales of Halloween. He's done a lot of writing as well. And this film is basically a 4-person movie. There's a young girl and her parents, and then a nanny comes in. They go away to a house by the lake because they're having some trouble with the daughter. She doesn't like to be touched. She's autistic. And I didn't know that till later on in the film, because to me, autistic, I don't know. I just thought she just seemed like she was weird and didn't want to be touched. But
paint me a picture if you're so autistic.
Oh my Lord!
I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. So are the jokes.
She was acting like she didn't. She has a big fear of water, so I didn't think that was autism. I just thought she just had some quirks. But whatever. It's explained later that's what it is. So they get to this place. There's water all over. It's a house by the lake. The girl does not want to go out to the lake. And then they slowly get her out there more and more. And then she meets this guy who's a neighbor. And the guy's an older guy and gives the mother a strange vibe. The father's in the house at the time. Maybe more like a pedophile vibe. But I don't think that's the way he was presented. But she's a very overprotective mother. And it makes sense. Young autistic girl. And she might make some bad decisions. So basically this is all about this girl, her trying to overcome her fear of this water. And then when the guy starts talking to her about fish, because he's a fisherman, she starts talking about the fish man. And we're trying to figure out what's going on, because all of a sudden she wants to go to the water more and more. And there's issues between the mother and the father on how to raise the girl. And then with the nanny being in the picture now, there's issues there. The couple has, a little bit of marital issues. They love each other, but I think they have different ideas about different things, including the care of their daughter and where they want their future to go in different respects. It's a good movie. It's good acting. You have to be into the characters or you're not going to be into the movie. Ultimately, I love the way it ends. It's non-traditional. Some people might think that nothing is resolved, or they might have more questions than answers. I really like the way it ended up turning out, and I'm coming in pretty high on this. It's 8.5 out of 10.
Wow. Oh. I'm actually looking forward to seeing this one.
Yeah, check it out. It's good. Again, I don't know if some people might look at it and just say, I wasn't into it, but
really excited about the fish man.
It struck me, well, I'll say nothing about that, but it struck me the right way on the right day. I enjoyed it.
The right way on the right day.
Yeah. Maybe it was just the experience. Maybe if I watch it a second time, I won't be quite as high. I don't know, but that's how I felt at the conclusion of this film. It was an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It's definitely worth checking out. That's for damn sure. So, But yeah, they went away for a month to try to figure some things out, and they figured some things out all right. So yeah, check it out. House by the Lake. Yep. All right, B.
Okay. My first RRR is the fan-made film Never Hike Alone from 2017, written and directed by Vicente DeSanti. A hiker's survival skills is put to the test when he stumbles upon the remains of an old abandoned camp and discovers its long, dark secrets. Now, I know all three of us saw this, and this is the Friday the 13th film that we got this Friday the 13th. And man, I gotta say, it's only 54 minutes. I had a blast with this. For the first, besides the part where he discovers the camp, it's really a one-man show for the first like half hour. And I think this actor, Drew Lady, who plays Kyle, I thought he was fantastic.
I agree.
You nailed it. Yeah, everything you've said, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love all the homage to all the Friday the 13th.
Yeah, man.
And I love ultimately where it goes once he discovers the camp and once Jason shows up. I thought the guy who played Jason did a good job.
Yes. That's the director, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, that
Yes,
I didn't realize that. I didn't look into the trivia of that.
He was.
How cool is that? How many guys? I mean, think if we made a fan film, who wouldn't want to be Jason? I mean, you got to be the right size and shit. But I mean, that's cool. You direct it and you get to play fucking Jason Voorhees. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Decent enough movement. And it looked amazing. And his Jason moves were decent enough, very passable. I've seen a lot of fan films where it's garbage. Absolutely.
Yeah,
right,
the one big issue, and you even mentioned this too, Christian, and it's really hard to not notice this, is in the sound editing with the footsteps.
They did it on purpose, but they gave it the Jason Goes to Hell, or sorry, let me correct that. They gave it the Jason Takes Manhattan RoboCop footsteps almost.
It was too much.
They should have just pulled back. I think they did. Well, I think it was on purpose, but their sound design was so great otherwise.
Yes,
and their visuals were so great otherwise that you kind of just went, if you're going to release this mainstream or if someone notices, just trim back the footsteps a little bit. Just pull it back 50% or something like that. You'll still get the impact, and it won't be so.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, enough's enough. But everything else was solid. The big finish at the end is either going to make or break it for a lot of people. Maybe break it is a little harsh, but people are going to love it, or it's going to take something away, because it is a one-person show for that duration, and then you get this big finish, and it's interesting. What did you guys think of that?
I loved it. I loved it. All the nods, or the names of the people, and everything else. And this is obviously because it's a fan film that it comes from a place of love, and this guy loves the fucking series, and even a small little thing like the no trespassing sign is just like the one from part 2 with the barbed wire and the way it is there, right? Little things. But the ending was great.
I'm not quite sure I loved it, but I definitely appreciate it and completely understand why it went that way. It's totally fan-friendly.
I say love because of how long it's been and how good it was, especially for being a fan film. You know what I mean? I guess if I break it right down.
Yeah.
The Friday fanboy in me loved it because of that, because it was exciting to see something like that. If I was right, exactly. If I was examining it differently, as a non-Friday fan, maybe I'd say, oh well, how come this happened and why? But no, it was it's a passion piece, and
that ending was for the fans, no question. The movie's for the fans.
Yeah.
I said I could easily say without like any issue that this movie blows 7, 8, 9, and 10 away.
I agree.
This is better than all of those movies. And
Agreed.
And depending on your take on Jason, Freddy versus Jason, I mean, it depends on like how high you're on that. It could even trump that one. It stands up with those other ones. Obviously, a different take, but a very intriguing take. My one fault, and I know it's a fan film, so you got to be a little less harsh on this, but so well produced, polished, and everything, was also that the most jarring aspect of the end scene, the big finish, was that the female actress there was a little weak. And so because everything was so top-notch before that, it's a little jarring. Her first line or two are jarring. Then it works for the movie almost, because you're like, oh, it's a Friday the 13th, and that's what you kind of expect. But the first couple of lines, I'm like, oh, she didn't really sell it. And then I was just like, it kind of took me out. But then you get put in right away. Once she says the name Axel, I think, then you're like, oh, awesome. And then that's all I'll say. And there's a few more surprises.
I agree with you. I think it's almost the opposite, that the the character of Kyle was just too good, because I felt like all the characters we get at the end were not as strong.
Well, I think they had to rush it, right? Because they probably only had a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, they put money into this. And the money,
a lot. It had to be. Great.
There's beautiful shots. The drone shots are beautiful. Everything's great. Like you get, and that ending there, there's some substantial budget that probably went to that end to secure how it went. And and there's a big old geeky smile on my face. So I'm with you, Dave. And hey, man, I can't wait to see what happens with this, or if it just gets into doing their next film. But from a Friday fanboy, 7 out of 10, and I almost feel guilty that it's not higher, but it's only because I've only watched it once. Maybe it will be an 8 out of 10 the next time.
It is for me. It's an 8 out of 10. I really loved it. I you know what I really like? Being able to see the campgrounds for the first time in a very long time, and where he took you and where they were, and seeing parts of the camp that we never saw in Crystal Lake before, and shit like that. And then it went to a place I knew it was going to go, but it was still done great. I have very little to complain about. I really, I wish it was a feature. I hope that these people see this movie and they give him a feature, kind of like the guy with Lights Out did, who ended up, making the movie and then going on to, what the hell did he do next? The Annabelle Creation, I think. You know how Eli Roth, that guy did that thing, Clown, and he ended up becoming a director. I hope that the right people see this movie and they get their shit together and come together for the greater good and let this guy direct a feature Friday the 13th, because it's good stuff, man.
And they incorporated the best part of this. Sorry, Brandon, we kind of took it. Is that they incorporated?
Yeah, this wasn't my triple R.
I know. I feel like an asshole. Sorry.
No, sorry. Two okay. Friday fans.
I won't get over it. I won't get over it. But they incorporated a bit of found footage, and they incorporated a little bit of the snow aspect. Now, the snow aspect only seen briefly. I think at the beginning there's some patches, if I'm not mistaken, and that's pretty much the extent of it. But the found footage part is part of the film as well. And so it was kind of done okay here. I don't know if they could have done a full found footage Friday the 13th, but how they did it here was great.
Jason's lost his eye so many times, it would make sense if he had an eye camera.
How about that one shot with his eye, by the way? I don't want to spoil anything, because it was great when he sits up and fucking you see the mask and the eye. And anyway, if you know what you know.
A couple good jump scares, too.
Couple good jump? Yeah, dude, yeah. And speaking of snow, Cult of Chucky. I know I'm going back, but I really loved the snowy setting of that film. I didn't mention it when we did it, but it popped into my head. Something else good.
I felt like they needed a little contrast of color. I love the snowy setting, but I felt like the institution was a little too white.
See, that's what I liked about it.
It was on purpose, yeah. It was like, I liked it too.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you on Never Hike Alone. I consider myself a Friday fanboy. In fact, I probably have higher ratings on some of the movies than you guys do.
All right, JP.
No, I know it's true though. It's true. You can't be a fanboy and hate half the franchise, but
yes and no, because if you are a fanboy, you love the fucking series enough to be able to look at the other ones and say, this doesn't live up to my Friday the 13th that I love and cherish.
My Friday.
Yeah, my fucking series that I love so much. When I see something that someone just stamps a label on it and calls it Friday the 13th, I'm not going to blindly suck its dick. That is a fanboy in the worst sense.
To see that in full fucking.
It's still a part of your franchise. You can't exclude it because it's not good. I'll take even Jason Goes to Hell, all 2 out of 10. It deserves as part of my Friday franchise.
All right,
but
buddy.
This Never Hike Alone, I'm right there with you, 7 out of 10.
And you know what? The more we're talking about it, I think I will boost it up to 7.5, just to give it a boost before I watch it again.
And so since you boosted it up, I'll go ahead and stay exactly the same, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Nice.
I have final edit of the show. I'll just cut that right out.
Yeah, boy. Okay, who's next? Do we each have one more?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, another one from 2017, and this is Rings, a movie I was not looking forward to seeing based on the fact that Dave went to see it way back in the theater. It's on Netflix. I downloaded it to my iPad, watched it on the plane, and I got to tell you, it wasn't as shitty as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting shit. Maybe because this supposedly was the catalyst to derail Friday the 13th. We'll never know. I don't know what the connection was. But anyway, a young woman finds herself on the receiving end of a terrifying curse that threatens to take her life in 7 days. Rings, it's self-explanatory in the title. it's interesting where the premise goes. The biggest fault of the movie is the opening, because I didn't even understand it. It opens on a plane, which was kind of funny because I was watching it on a plane, and all of a sudden the video sort of starts, and shit starts to hit the fan, and the movie just ends, or the scene just ends. It's like you're about to see the girl come out, and then it ends, and then we don't really go back to that or anything. I was like, that was jarring and weird, and really didn't seem to have any point to the movie. And then we follow a college girl and her boyfriend, and the boyfriend's going to college. Sorry, I guess it's a college guy and his girlfriend, and the guy's going to college, and he gets wrapped up in this video within like days of being at college. And
Your mom goes to college.
yeah, thanks for interrupting with that.
It's a Napoleon Dynamite joke. Hopefully
Ghoulies
people
go to college.
Ghoulies. So it's interesting how the rings play into it. So there's ultimately a bunch of people that are affected by the video, and they've got to save themselves by sort of paying it forward, so to speak. It's by no means a great movie, but I guess I was expecting utter shit. So I thought it was passable. I thought it was slightly above average, and I'm coming in at 6 out of 10.
Whoa.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you familiar and are you a fan of the first Ring movie?
I've seen Ringu, and I've seen Ring 3 times, and I've seen Ringu once.
Okay, the crime of this film is if you know those other movies well enough that they take everything that we already know and they erase it and try to come up with a completely new forced mythology. That's the issue.
And this is you. See, and I
Right.
know there's people like you with the mythology. I don't care. I guess I don't buy into it. Like maybe because you buy into it so much, like the cult of the Chucky stuff. I don't care. It could be whatever the
Yeah,
fuck
but
it
you
wants to
would
be. It's a
care.
kill or die.
You would care if you cared about the other one. Like, let's say you watch Friday the 13th part 1 and 2, and then
Okay.
part 3 comes, and all of a sudden he gets beamed up into a fucking spaceship, and he's a fucking an alien now. You wouldn't like that. You know what I mean?
It's
Did you
happened.
like Jason X?
Yeah. I will tell you. Yeah, I know. I can see that. I agree. And maybe I don't know the mythology well enough, but I thought that they tried to take it to push it into a different direction. So it's not a piece of shit. You think it's a piece of shit?
I think the entire plot is fucking god awful piece of shit. I think from a technical level, it's fine, but everything else about it, there's nothing redeeming about anything else except for the beginning scene.
And I think your review was a piece of shit.
What do you have up for us next?
Oh, wait till you hear what I have up, but it's Dave's turn first. Isn't it?
I gotta decide. I got 2. What should I do? And here's what's weird. The same girl's in both movies, and I couldn't believe how different she looked in both movies.
Just review how she looks.
Well, I'll tell you. The first movie, she looked like Courtney Love. In the second movie, she looked fucking ridiculously hot. In Amityville, this is what I'm talking about. Amityville Awakenings. I think it was filmed 3 years ago. So this girl was younger at the time, and the new movie she's in, the babysitter, she completely different. And
You're
what's
talking
the
about
girl's?
Bella Thorne.
Bella Thorne. Holy fucking wow, hot in the babysitter. And in this movie, granted, she's still young and she's probably only 17 years old and whatever, but it's like night and day. It's crazy. But anyway, Amityville Awakenings. Everyone knows the story. It's been pushed around, this, that, the other thing, and they should have just gone direct to DVD or VOD or whatever the fuck. But I'll tell you this. I'm a big fan of Amityville 1 and 2. I'm okay with 3. I've seen a couple of the others. This movie here had a cool intro with the history. This really focused on the DeFeo story, not the Lutz story. The Lutz story exists in this movie, and so do the movies. There's self-awareness. It's actually quite cool the way it's set up. It's and it's directed by Frank Calhoun and music by Rob, both who worked together on the Maniac remake. And a good score by Rob, actually. And I like Calhoun as a director. There's good nods. There's the fly in the beginning, like from the original stuff. Little things. Stories about a mother who brings her 2 children to the Amityville house. They don't know the Amityville house exists. The mother does. She doesn't. We find that out later. But it makes sense that she would, and the kids are young, so they wouldn't. But they're twins. I want to say they're 17 years old, and the boy is very sick. He had an accident, and he's in really rough shape. He's being helped by machines. He's coma. His twin sister kind of wishes that I think the mother would just pull the plug. It's not a good scene, but the mother has all kinds of faith. So, of course, they get into the house, and he starts to make a comeback, mostly because it's not mostly, because it's the Amityville house, and there's other things that are, at hand here, almost like an Amityville 2, the possession type thing. But not to that extreme, at least not till we get to the end. But it's kind of cool because the girl goes to school, and she meets people and friends, and they're aware of that she lives in the Amityville house, and they clue her in as to what's going on. And her one friend's a fanatic about it, and he comes over and they watch the Amityville horror, and they even show scenes from the movie in the movie. They're watching the movie. It's kind of cool that they do it that way. They don't do it stupidly, But my issue is that there's too many dream fake outs. Some of the CGI is kind of meh, but it's a little bit emotional at times. It's not a bad flick at all. There's an interesting kind of reveal about the intentions of the mother and why they get there. And then later on, when the boy comes to life, we find out that it's Ian from Shameless. And I had no idea it was him until he came too. And I'm like, oh, look at this, it's Ian. It kind of sputters out in the third act, unfortunately. But not a bad movie. Definitely not as bad as most people are probably saying because everything it went through. 6.5 out of 10. If you're a fan of the Amityville franchise, it's definitely worth checking out.
What part is this one? How many are there?
Who knows?
It's probably 15, 16?
I don't know, too many.
I don't think it's that high, is it?
I don't think so either.
I think it's 12.
No,
if you include this. If you include this in the remake, I think it's 12. It's up there. But yeah.
Fuck the remake.
Check it out. It's not a bad film. If you're a fan of Amityville, you will respect the way they handle this film, I think. So it's like I said, the third act is generic to me, and it's unfortunate. But the first 2 acts are pretty solid. Yes, and go see The Babysitter. I'm not doing a review, but go see it. I'm not blowing it as much as everybody else is, but go see it, I say. It's on Netflix.
Go see it on Netflix.
Yeah, watch it. Too much comedy in the wrong moments, but not a bad film.
Samara Weaving, though. Woo!
Who?
She's stunning. B.
Another girl that was in that movie?
No, B from The Babysitter.
You said Samara something.
Her name is Samara Weaving.
I thought you said her name was Bella Thorne.
No, that's another character. I'm talking about the star of The Babysitter, the actual babysitter, the blonde.
That's not Bella Thorne?
No, Bella Thorne's the redhead. The cheerleader got shot in the boob.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, see, she was top billed, Bella Thorne, so I thought she was the babysitter.
No, she's the one who was shot in the boob.
That's why it's night and day, so it's not even the same person. Okay.
It's funny. It's funny because on the cover of the Amityville movie, I'm saying to myself, she looks like Bella Thorne there, and she looks like Bella Thorne in The Babysitter. I mean, she's a cute girl. She's an attractive girl.
Well, how come she got top billing, Bella Thorne, when she's not even the babysitter?
Yeah, she's the bigger name. She's been around for a long time. She's like a child. She's like a child star.
Okay, so there you go. Now it makes sense. Okay, forget Bella Thorne. You're right. Samantha Weaving. Holy fuck, that girl.
Or Samara Weaving. Yeah.
Samara Weaving. Whatever.
Samantha's sister.
Whatever she is, she's
gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we got to get through this guy's nonsense.
And I'm gonna take my time with this one because this one was a screener sent to me or linked to me from one of my favorite directors, Mr. Sean Donahue of Deathscort Service fame.
Nice.
He actually reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to review Deathscort Service 2, The Naked Dead.
Okay, did he think that, hey, listen, I know you hated my first film and you fucking completely said it was a 0 out of 10. This film is much better than that, so I want you to see it and give your honest opinion? Is that
You know what? I think, with what happened, that was episode 3. Yeah, it wasn't a film for me, but is it legitimately a 0 out of 10? No, there are elements of the film that are good. I'll tell you this. Part 2 makes me want to go back and rewatch 1 and give it a legitimate rating. Because part 2 picks up right where part 1 left off, and it ups the nudity and it ups the gore. The gore in this is nasty. I mean, the kills are just fucking brutes.
I still think
I'll-
they should have killed you off in it.
Yeah,
I'm sure he would love to, but
It'll be part 3.
but man, I love the fact that the killer in this uses a variety of methods to kill. So there's not one kill that's duplicated. There's everything from gun kills to strangulations to ice picks to being sawed to being melted with acid. And it's just, I thought it was really great effects. I thought the opening title card and music throughout was great. I do wish there was more exposition. That was my issue with the first one. They didn't really get into the story until the end. And this one, where there could have been exposition and more story, we get a lot of nudity and crude humor. It was funny. I was able to laugh at it this time because I knew what I was getting into. There's some funny scenes in it, some funny jokes. I didn't actually see the twist coming. I didn't see. I was trying to figure out who the killer was. I didn't see who it was, but again, there's not enough story, but not really too hard to figure out if you've seen the first one. Got Ryan Nicholson, who voices the killer.
Oh wow!
Which was pretty cool. You know what? I can. Yeah, Kingpin. Yeah, from Kingpin.
Yeah, from Kingpin. Yes.
He played Munson.
Yes.
I'll tell you this. As we always talk about wanting to make movies, you can tell that these group of guys and gals, they get together and they must have a really good time shooting these types of movies. And these are the types of movies they want to make, and they appeal to a lot of people because they're very popular. They're already planning a part 3. And you know what? I'll check it out. And I'll even review it on the show because I had a good time with this because I knew what I was getting into. The first time around with part 1, when I reviewed it, it was recommended to me because everybody was raving it, and it just wasn't my type of film. Part 2 is pretty much part 1 again, just upped.
So it's a 1 out of 10?
No. No, that's the thing. That's the thing, though, because now I'm able to review it from the mindset of knowing what I'm getting into. Sure, so I gotta say, for what it is, I really enjoyed it. Of course, I want more story, but for the gore, for the music, for the hot naked women, it's a solid 6.5 out of 10.
Wow!
I call this corporate Brandon. This is what we're calling this review.
No, it is
because it's a screener. Yeah.
Am I gonna buy it?
Please don't body check my movie.
I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not. It's not my type of film. I saw it. I'm glad I saw it. But he's got an eye for gore.
You're gonna bootleg it though.
No, he sent me the link. I saw it.
I'm joking.
But I'm gonna recommend it to people who are fans of Gator Blade films and all the sleazebox films. This is right up their alley. It's good stuff in terms of that.
Did you say Gay Blade films?
Gator Blade.
Oh,
speaking of Gay Blade.
You know what? What the fuck? How come everybody? I'm Mr. Found Footage, and I saw this movie last year, Hell House LLC, and I gave it like 6.5 or 7 out of 10. So, and everybody's fucking blowing it. Have you guys noticed this? Sorry to derail. I don't know.
I've noticed
nothing happens.
Talking about it recently, and
nothing happens in the third act. I don't know what I'm missing here. I love fucking found footage. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy that usually comes to the highest on found footage.
I invented found footage.
I invented that when I invented 6.75 ratings. Yes, that's what I give the rating for Hell House LLC. Anyway, rant over. Okay.
I want to check that one out, and then I'll go back. I never watched the first one because it's not really accessible. Deathscort Service, is it?
Oh.
No, you really have to buy it. I had it. I actually bought part 1, so I did support the film. I bought it. I did give it away since, but
I was gonna say you probably gave it away or burned it. Right?
No, I
gave it away to the garbage can. Did you? I don't mean to derail this either, but since we both haven't seen that movie, did you know that they did a Picnic at Hanging Rock miniseries this year?
Yes.
What?
It's not out yet though.
Yeah, it was done in Australia. 6 episodes.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, that's fucking wild, dude.
Good cast.
Yeah, really good cast.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, should we get this show on the road? You got a top 20 to do.
Yeah, I got sleeping to get to.
Yeah, you do. Well, this is going to be quick, this one. I
got masturbating to get to.
Indeed.
I mean,
I got both to do, masturbating and sleeping. Yes.
It's like a sleep aid to me.
Nice. Okay, listen, these are the top 20 movies that we are recommending to watch in October. I'm not going first this time because I went first.
I'll go first this time because to me, this was a harder list to make because I watch horror movies all year round and I never felt like during October like I had to watch specific films. So I really had to think about certain films like that I want to watch this time of year, but I never really have a rule. Like I'd watch summer films now. I don't care.
Sure. I'm different every year depending on the if I have a topic, you know what I mean, or a theme.
But
this year I don't.
I tried to give a good mix of films that I enjoy watching any time of the year and films that I think are appropriate for the season. So my number 20 is a Linnea Quigley film called Jacko. And you guys ever see this?
Oh, yeah.
You like it?
I have not.
Not particularly. It's okay.
I like it. I'm a fan of it. I mean, it's not. Is it a great film? No, but it captures the Halloween feel, and I enjoyed it. It was part of the 100 Obscure Movie Challenge.
I believe she has a shower scene in this one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, she does.
I know my Linnea. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Number 19, Mischief Night, the 2014 version. I've actually never seen the 2013 one. This is the 2014 version with Malcolm McDowell, where the girl's watching the house and
it's good.
Yeah, and the killer
way they swerve. The way they swerve you.
Yes. It's and again Mischief Night, so it takes place. Number 18, an anthology that I love, but it's not going to be the one you're thinking of. Southbound.
Oh.
I feel like Southbound is a perfect film to watch this time of year.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it might be.
I hear you. I don't agree, but I hear you.
Fucking skunk. Number 17, a movie that I believe just got announced that it's getting a Blu-ray release. That is The Changeling.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
I believe Severin is putting it out.
Time.
Number 16, American Werewolf in London.
Nice.
Number 15, Clown House.
Fucking Clown House, huh? Yeah, I like a little Victor salivating in my October. All over my pumpkin.
It wouldn't be autumn without touching little boys.
Oh, my lords.
Oh, no, what I mean.
Number 14, The Omen.
Wow.
What? You don't like The Omen?
I do like The Omen. You surprised me with that pick.
Number 13, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. Need a good Scarecrow flick in the fall. Can't even talk. Number 12, Ginger Snaps. And number 11, another favorite anthology of mine from a few years back, All Hallows Eve.
There you go.
We're still waiting on Terrifier to come out, but All Hallows Eve was solid. I mean, I don't think it's a masterpiece, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's got its moments. Definitely.
Yeah, man.
The wraparound is great.
I like the sequel too, actually, which has nothing really less to do with the first one. Then it's more like Tales of Halloween.
See, I actually liked the sequel better than Tales of Halloween. I didn't love Tales of Halloween.
I thought they were both fine.
See, you can go next. I'll go last. I don't care.
Oh, you're already. Wow, that was a fast 10.
Yeah.
And I didn't like, to be totally honest, I would watch Tales of Halloween. I would watch All Hallows Eve, but I was trying to think of like offshoots. Obviously, there's going to be some traditional ones here. I started with number 20, Scream.
Nice.
I love it. Good time of year to watch it.
Way to think outside the box.
Oh, there's no thinking outside the box. These are movies that we fucking watch. And the fucking prick bastard, you. Number 19, Picnic in Hanging Rock, the miniseries. I've already watched it. It's fantastic. Better than the movie. Yeah. Number 19 is Saw, because I love the first one the best. It's not as disturbing as Saw 3, the brain surgery scenes. But bingo!
No, it's not.
Number 18, The Shining, which I've already watched this year. Beautiful. Number 17, Demons.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward to seeing that again, because we did Demons 2 for the 86 show, and I haven't watched Demons in a bit, so that'd be great. Number 16, Trick or Treat, and that's the one with Mark Price.
Sammy
with what?
Kerr?
Yeah. Sammy Hager. Sammy what?
Sammy Kerr.
Sammy
Sound
Hagar. I said Sammy Kerr.
What the fuck?
With Sammy Hagar.
What the fuck?
Number 15, The Evil Dead. Number 14, Carrie. I love that movie. We were talking about it earlier. Again, another disturbing scene from Dave's.
Damn straight, it's disturbing.
The most horrifying tampon throwing scene in the history of films.
Number 13, Psycho. And number 12, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I got a very early start this year because those were in September. Because we watched them for our other.
This is our top 20 to watch in October, not September.
I don't care. I already watched
last
them.
episode.
But this is what I would usually watch, right? Number 11, American Werewolf in London.
There you go.
Cool.
I forgot I had to stop there.
11.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank God.
That's weird. My list is going to be like a mix of your guys' list. You did one thing, you did one thing. Ordinarily, when doing this, I would just pick like my favorite movies that I love to watch in October. But this year, I'm just doing my slashers, so I couldn't do it. But this is something.
That's not what we're doing.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna mix it up with different ones. Number 20 is Pumpkinhead. I always like to watch Pumpkinhead in October. Number 19, Suspiria. I gotta have some witches. When it comes to October, I like to have classic monsters, but without actually watching like the Universal classics. Although, if I am gonna watch Universal classics, it's October. Number 18, the WNUF Halloween Special. One of my more favorite ones in recent years. It's only been out, I think, for 4 or 5 years now.
I still need to see that one. It's on Prime or Shudder. It's on one or both of them, and I have it in my queue to watch, and everybody raves it. And I'm going to check that out this month.
You really should. I hope it's not wasted on you. With it's 100% 1980s. It's like literally somebody recorded a newscast in the 1980s, commercials and all, and everything, and this is it. So
I think I'll still appreciate it,
right.
Being born in 80. So,
right.
I remember the late 80s.
Fair enough. Okay. Number 17, we've talked about these movies a little bit so far, and this is something that I recommended to do. And it's 3 movies, but it's really not, because you're not watching all of them. This is something I recommend everybody try if they have these. You have to have the Blu-ray or DVD to do it. But Tales of Halloween and All Hallows Eve 1 and All Hallows Eve 2. Take them all. Just take the ones that you like. I would say maybe 50% of Tales of Halloween. I would say 2 out of the 3 in All Hallows Eve 1. And I would say maybe 3 out of the 7 in All Hallows Eve 2. Because only 3 of them deal directly with Halloween in All Hallows Eve 2. So I always said the only way to do it is if you have a DVD or a Blu-ray. Just take them and just do a whole anthology night and watch them all and pick out the ones you like. It's a fun thing to do. Number 16, Night of the Demons. I mean, classic horror movie. Takes place on a Halloween night. Awesome stuff. 15 is Poltergeist. I like to watch ghost movies and hauntings and things like that in October, and that is my favorite type of movie like that. Number 14, The Omen. That's why I wowed before, Brandon.
Oh, because it was same spot. Look at that.
Same number, same movie. Yeah. Again, Satan is something else I like to mess around with in October.
I fuck Satan every October. I mess around.
Right.
Mess around.
Yeah, we do. Number 13, Night of the Living Dead. I like the fact that it's black and white. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that it's also shown in Halloween 2. So every time I think about Night of the Living Dead, I think about Halloween Night because of that movie. So it's
actually not in black and white. You're colorblind. I'm sorry to tell you.
All right, number 12. Number 12 is May. Gotta watch that.
It's October. We're talking about movies in October.
I like to watch May and June.
No, May and October is the way to go. The third act takes place on Halloween night, and that's when the movie goes batshit crazy. And it's a fucking fantastic film, so if you haven't seen it, you really should. And number 11, The Exorcist. Yes, it's one of my favorite movies, of course, but there are scenes that take place in Halloween, and if you blink, you'll miss them. But it still takes place in fall. There's the scene when she's walking and you see the kids trick-or-treating. It's just a small thing, but if it's an excuse to watch one of my favorite movies, I'm going to watch it. So there you go. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into my top 10. Number 10, Donnie Darko.
It's a horror list.
Okay, all right, give me a sec. My number 10, Donnie Darko, you fucking skunk.
I love that movie too.
I know. You need a little Donnie in October. I need to straight up see that goofball in October.
Straight up saw the goofball. Nice.
Number 9, Dave, you'll appreciate this one. The Witch.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously you need a good vampire film in October.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fucking exhausted, Christian. These jokes are really
but I'm right with you, man. I'm laughing at them.
Yeah, all right.
We're all gonna laugh at you.
Number 8. I actually included a few slashers on this list. It's not a precursor to anything that might happen on episode 50, but Happy Hell Night.
Wow.
A fun film. It's not a great film, and I don't rate it super high, but it's a fun film to watch this time of year. And it's got some really good kills in it. It really does.
Right on.
Number 7, Night of the Demons. Obvious reasons. Number 6, even though I made fun of Christian, Scream. Fucking love Scream.
Fucking asshole.
Nice.
Number 5, Hollow. Anyone ever see that one with Kaylee Cuoco and Kevin Zegers? Like from the early 2000s.
No.
Yeah, it's a Sleepy Hollow film, but it's more family friendly. It's not a kids film, but it's more family friendly.
Right on.
I liked it. I discovered it when somebody recommended it on their YouTube channel because I never wanted to rent it when I was younger. It just looked generic and cheesy, but it's actually really good. Number 4, Trick or Treat with fucking David Lee Roth.
Just a gigolo.
Number 3, Halloween.
78.
We know.
Yeah, 78. Number 2, Saw. It's it's a tradition. It's a tradition.
Nice, man.
I didn't make fun of you for Saw. Saw is a tradition. I've seen every Saw on opening night in October, and I plan on going to see Jigsaw when it comes out.
Right on.
So
I've seen them all too.
Yeah. And number 1, Season of the Witch.
Nice. Halloween 3.
I think Halloween 3 just man, I love the feel of that film. That's October for me.
It's fucking awesome. Do you watch it a certain night or no?
No, but you know what? To be honest,
do.
because of the way our schedule's working out this year, and the fact that we're gonna record like right before Halloween, and so like Halloween's gonna be like a day where I can watch whatever I want. I might actually do like a triple feature, Halloween 1, 2, 3.
Attaboy. Nice.
Yeah.
I always watch it on Halloween night occasionally. More so in recent years. But usually for years, it was the tradition of Halloween Eve. And if it's not Halloween Eve, I watch it on the 23rd. Because in the opening scene, it says Saturday, October 23rd. Fucking so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm a geek about Halloween 3, obviously.
No, that's cool. I also want to, I mentioned Mischief Night 2014 earlier. I want to check out the Mischief Night that came out the year before. I never saw that one, but
I heard it sucks.
Oh, really? I watched the trailer for it. It looked pretty good, but maybe not.
Maybe I'm confused with the other All Hallows Eve. Maybe that one sucks. I don't know. Whatever.
I own a double pack of Mischief Night and All Hallows Eve. I'm just not sure which Mischief Night I own. If it's the one I talked about that I like, or if it's...
I think so. I think it is.
Yeah, me too. All right, cool.
Yep. All right. What you got, C?
I got number 10, Hellraiser. Number 9, A Nightmare on Elm Street. What a dick. But it's just all dick. Just not in the right space.
Nobody's ever said that to
me. Number 8 is Dawn of the Dead. 79. I'm sticking to
it. Just for that one show. You got to stick with it for life now. That's great.
Number 7, Night of the Demons.
Yes.
2009. I'm just kidding.
Do you have sour balls? 2009.
I'm joking. Yeah, I guess you don't get too many blowjobs.
Nice.
Number 6, Creepshow.
Wow.
Because I love it. Number 5, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And number 4, Return of the Living Dead. Number 3, Trick or Treat with Sam.
That'll win.
Sal?
No, yeah, Sal.
Sal.
Fucking Sal.
It
Number
is Sal.
2, Halloween 2. And number 1, Halloween.
Oh, you really
big surprise.
went outside the box there on those last few.
Why are we going
Hey,
outside the
man.
box?
Gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest.
This fucking
After all
guy.
that.
Hey,
Like,
number,
see, I did a
number,
little-
se-
Hagen Rock.
number 12, Halloween 12. Number 11, Halloween 11.
Hey, I would have had
Number
more
10,
Halloweens on there. I'd watch them all. I typically marathon them once.
Ant-Man, because Ant-Man was in a Halloween movie.
So yeah, in the past, like I said, if I was making this list 5 years ago, I always used to just watch my favorites. So The Shining would be there, or Friday the 13th would be there, this and that. But this time, like I said, I'm doing it a little different. I'm glad you guys took that route though, and just did a lot of your favorites. That's cool. But okay, number 10, Children of the Corn. Pretty much the only time I watch that movie is in October. That's it though, and I try to watch at least one Stephen King movie, and that's usually one that's there. That or Carrie. Number 9, Ghost Story, an underrated movie, and like I said, I like to watch ghost stuff in this time of year. I could have gone The Changeling, but I decided for some reason Ghost Story is I don't know, there's something about it. I don't know if I like it more than The Changeling, but I don't know. I just wanted to put that one on there. Number 8, Amityville Horror. Yes, I like part 2 more, probably much more at this point, because I don't know. Amityville 2, I don't know. I think I'm at like the point now where I give it a 9.5. I fucking love it. But the Amityville Horror, the original, something about that movie, like I said, haunted houses and shit like that is king for October. So it has that good feel to it. Number 7, Creepshow, which actually opens on Halloween night. It's another little quick thing that if you blink, you're going to miss. But in the beginning of the movie, you see the jack-o'-lantern going. And I know it's just a cheap thing to do, but any excuse to watch one of my favorite movies, I'm going to do it. Number 6 is Ginger Snaps, my favorite werewolf movie. I like traditional monsters in October. And the third act of this movie does take place on Halloween. Number 5, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. 100%. I cannot recommend this movie more if you've never seen it. And if you've never seen it, watch it in October, your first time. It's all atmosphere. Number 4, Trick or Treat, as in the anthology. For years, I have been watching it since it came out on the night before Halloween. Some people do it on Halloween night. I can't. That night's booked. What we're going to talk about next. For what we're going to talk about next. Number 3 is Halloween 2. Number 2 is Halloween 3. The reason they're switched is because sometimes when I'm done watching Halloween 78, I don't watch part 2. Some years it gets skipped, but I always make sure that I watch Halloween 3 at some point during the year. So that's the only reason why they're switched. And of course, number 1, fucking the granddaddy of them all, John Carpenter's Halloween 1978. I cannot go a year on Halloween night without watching that movie. I don't think I ever will. So, boom! There you go, October.
You know what I'll say? 2 films that I bumped off my list were films that take place on other holidays.
Holidays? Silent
Yes.
Night, Deadly Night.
I bumped off Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Blood Rage.
Really?
And I think now's a good time of year to even watch those films because it gets you even more in the mood for the holiday season.
True. It's a little
This is
warmer.
holiday season. It's October, November, December. So why not watch Halloween, Blood Rage, and Silent Night, Deadly Night as a triple feature?
I could see that. I don't want to think about fucking Thanksgiving and Christmas in October. That's the only reason why. I don't even want to hear that shit. I'm fucking so.
Hey, we have Thanksgiving in October.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah, but do you have Halloween October 31st, or is Canadian Halloween in July?
Go fuck yourselves.
When's New Year's, and when does the 4th of July happen for you guys?
Oh shit.
What day is the 4th of July for you, Christian?
We don't celebrate that bullshit.
No, but what date is July 4th for you then?
They have Canada Day or Victoria Day, like the week
Canada
after.
Day. No, Canada Day's July 1st.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's right around.
Canada
They always have it right around ours. Yep.
What do you need a day?
I don't know. Well, they deserve a day.
They should give you like, give them like 12 hours.
What is it? Fucking Slaughter High? Fucking April Fool's ends at noon.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? That's another thing I didn't learn until then. Is that a thing?
No, it's just something they did for the fucking movie.
Oh, okay.
What?
The April Fool's ending at 12 hours.
Yeah,
Oh, it does.
begins
It ends at 12 noon.
You
That's
serious?
all. I've always grown up knowing that.
I
That's
was on
Canadian.
April-
Okay, that's why.
Yeah, you fucking Canadian skunk.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Well, thanks for clearing that up, man. You just boosted up Slaughter High. See, that was a knock on the movie for years for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just knocked it down for me.
See?
You're all right.
Oh shit!
Oh my
Awesome.
god.
We got to get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Next show is our anniversary, 2-year anniversary special. We're doing it 49 and not 50 because 50 is just going to be too damn big with our slasher list. So please, if you listen to the show, if you like us, if you want to give us a little bit of props, next show is the show to do it. Send us an email, send us a voicemail, get involved, man. It's going to be all about having fun. We might not even review any movies. We don't know. We might just talk shit and have fun, but not for 4 hours again. If you want to do that, want to show us some love, send us an email, explodingheadshorrorpodcast@gmail.com, or call our voicemail, 702-389-6472. Please remember, Patreon, if you want to contribute there, there's lots of perks going on, man, and more to come. And that is www.patreon.com/explodingheads. Join the group page, go on Facebook, type in Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, whatever. Get on in.
Join us.
Yes, join us.
Were you talking to Cordell?
Maniac Talk. So, yes. Happy Halloween, everybody. Go on iTunes, please. Review us. Give us a rate. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends.
Review us. That's in my mind right now.
Is that how you're saying goodbye? Is that your final words right now?
Adios.
Adios. All right. Yeah. Happy Halloween, everybody. We love you guys. See you soon. Peace out.